Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Reiki Recovery. I can fast forward infinitely. Chapter 21. When the three of you said something to each other, Zhao Gang was immediately taken aback. He said with some fear, Shira is the one who attacked tonight. I don't know the details, but he seems to be a young man of 17 or 18. As for strength, it's enough to be very strong anyway. One person challenges 10 masters, kills 5 in a row, and scares the other masters away. As soon as Zhao Gang said this, Zhang Zhen and the three looked at each other again, and then looked at He Bo's body next to him. He also killed the owner of the underground boxing hall. Zhao Gang shook his head. I don't know. The three of Zhang Zhen looked at Zhao Qinghe again. Zhao Qinghe had no choice but to nod his head. If there is no accident, he killed him. Who the hell is Shira? You belong to Zhao's martial arts school. It's stronger than Su Mu. The three continued to question. Zhao Qinghe waved his hands with a dark face. I don't know about this. People are arranged by the city lord. There are no such monsters in my martial arts school. He can't tell the truth, even if he is killed. If you really know that Su Mu has this strength, the three old foxes must have worked hard to poach Su Mu away if they can give up. Tomorrow is the preliminary test organized by the city, and then they will go to Haai City to participate in the test. At this juncture, there must be no problems. So the three of them looked at Wang Yang in unison. Wang Yang's face darkened, he glared at Zhao Qinghe, and waved his hands. Don't look at me. I don't know where he is. He is just a junior. If you have the ability to dig him out and join your martial arts school, that's your ability. Anyway, don't look for me. After finishing speaking, Wang Yang ran away in a flash, leaving only one sentence. I'll see you at the city lord's mansion tomorrow morning. Don't be late, someone from the city will pick them up in person. The test is about to start. However, Donglai City is too small and does not have the conditions to carry out the test. Therefore, the apprentices in Donglai City have to go to Donghai City to take the test. In order to avoid wasting time and resources, before going to Donghai City, a preliminary test will be conducted in the City Lord's mansion with the equipment of the City Lord's mansion. Only those who have reached more than 100 calories of blood will be eligible to go to Donghai City to participate in the hall test. Of course, the instruments in the City Lord's mansion are all obsolete instruments, so let's just say, the upper limit is not high. Wang Yang ran away. Zhang Zhen and the other three of course did not dare to chase him. The three of them looked at each other again, and they didn't say anything on the surface, but they seemed to understand each other's thoughts. Tomorrow is the test, their last chance. Now Ashira suddenly appeared, and he looked very evil, at least much stronger than Su Mu. So, they all thought of a piece, and tonight, this Shira must be dug out. Swish! The three rushed into the city almost simultaneously. The three of Zhang Zhen left, and Zhao just breathed a sigh of relief. But while he was relieved, Zhao Qinghe next to him slapped him again. Zhao Gang was directly slapped dizzy. Dad, what are you doing? Almost exposed. Zhao Qinghe cursed angrily. Zhao Gang shrank his head, and didn't dare to answer back, but muttered. It's really bad luck for 8 lifetimes today, why didn't I listen to Brother Mu? Even though Zhao Gang's voice was very low, he forgot that the person next to him was his father, who was a martial artist in the 9th level, and how keen his hearing was. In the next second, Zhao Gang was slipped by Zhao Qinghe. Say. No way. Zhao Gang had no choice but to say everything. As soon as he heard that Zhao Gang didn't listen to Su Mu's advice and bought Asura to win, resulting in a loss of 1 billion, Zhao Qinghe immediately ran away, and caught Zhao Gang and beat him up. If it wasn't for the test tomorrow, Zhao Gang would probably be beaten to death. This night, Donglai City is destined to be restless. First, the matter of Moxiu shook the entire Donglai City. Moxiu seems to be far away from ordinary people, but now it seems very close. No one could have imagined that Moxiu was right under his nose. No one thought that the real boss behind the underground boxing hall was actually a magic cultivator. Many people who are keen to bet on gambling gimmicks only now realize that they have been giving money to Moxiu all this time. On the other hand, many people in Donglai City also witnessed the terror of the city lord Wang Yang. The city lord was joking and laughing on weekdays, he was not in a good shape, and he didn't seem to have any deterrent power. But when they really started to fight, everyone realized that this is a guy who kills without blinking an eye. Moxiu didn't even struggle much, and died in his hands. Afterwards, Donglai City was under martial law, and the city guards began to sweep away the remnants of the demon cultivators. They have already grasped the information, and it is very easy to sweep up. Then, it was hard to wait until the matter of the magic cultivator stopped. Another explosive news spread. Donglai City was born on the first day, named Shira. The first news that came out was the news in the underground boxing hall that day. Many gamblers saw with their own eyes that Shira made a move and instantly killed 5 champions, including number 10, a martial artist of the 9th level. Then, someone broke the news that Haibo chased and killed Shira, but was killed by Shira. This ignited the discussion point of everyone. The warrior kills the warrior. The bigger the realm, the bigger the kill. How strong is Shira? Interesting, Haibo mocked Shira at the beginning, but he probably never thought of it until his death, and his own words became a prophecy. In the arena back then, Haibo taunted Shira and let everyone watch that Donglai City was born on the first day. As a result, it really became true. Shira has now become the veritable number 1 genius in Donglai City. Let me ask the younger generation in Donglai City, who can do this step? Not to mention the anti-killing of Haibo, who was in the martial master realm, even if he killed the number 10 lord, few people could do it. Ever since, the whole city was looking for Shira. Shira is just a code name, and no one knows its specific identity. Shira's name resounded in the streets and alleys of Donglai City, and some young women even threatened that if Shira wanted to, they would give him a little Shira. Then, another news came out. Zhang Zhen, the owner of the Zhang clan's martial arts academy, personally put Shira in words, and recruited him to be Zhang clan's number 1 enshrinement, with a salary of tens of millions per year. Yang's martial arts move seemed to be a firecracker, and then the Li family and the Lu family spoke one after another. Li Jianping personally came forward to Li's martial arts hall, and also offered conditions. Recruit Shira as an offering, with a salary of tens of millions per year, plus all the body-hardening medicine support during the warrior period. This is much more sincere than Yang's martial arts. And everyone also knows that Li's martial arts is doing a better business of body-quenching liquid than the other 3 martial arts, because their owner Li's family runs a medicine store in Donghai City. The Zhang family and the Li family have all bid, and the Lu family is naturally not far behind. Soon Lu Xingwu, the owner of Lu's martial arts gym, also let Shira speak. The remuneration is still the same, the enshrined remuneration, the annual salary is tens of millions, and at the same time, a book of mysterious level combat skills and a body tempering technique for warriors will be given as gifts. This is not weaker than the previous 2. Needless to say, the value of mysterious level combat skills, especially the subsequent body tempering technique, is even more valuable. Body quenching skills are generally in the hands of institutions above the martial arts hall, and a small part of them are in the hands of these big families. Donglai City is just a small town. It stands to reason that it is impossible for everyone to have the body tempering technique of the warrior period, but the Lu family is an exception, and their Lu family actually has a background. This background is the Lu family, a big family in Zhongling province. Moreover, the conditions for the opening of Lu's martial arts hall are more than that simple. After Lu Xingwu released his words, Lu Fengfei also came forward and publicly stated that she admired Shira very much, and was willing to pour tea and water for Shira, and have an in-depth exchange of martial arts with Shira. This makes sense. For a while, the entire Donglai City was a sensation. All because of a genius born out of nowhere, Shira. At the same time, Zhao Qinghe and his son felt guilty in Zhao's martial arts gym. Dad, why are they so rich? Zhao Gang was shocked. These 3 are crazy, and one bids higher than the other. Zhao Qinghe also had a dark face. Can it be compared? Your father and I started from scratch, and this martial arts gym was established in my hands. And they all have backgrounds, and they all opened the gym when Donglai City was established. Then, Zhao Gang said again. Will Brother Mu be tempted? Snapped Zhao Qinghe. What do you think? I think so, because I'm all tempted, especially the Lu family. The girl of the Lu family is so beautiful, she even talked about serving tea and water, and even had an in-depth exchange. Zhao Gang said truthfully. He raised his hand and gave Zhao Gang a shudder. You useless thing. You think everyone is like you. Dad, what I said is the truth, why don't we add some points to Brother Mew? Zhao Gang snapped back, but Zhao Qinghe shook his head. It's not that I don't add it, but it's really impossible to add it. It's useless if it's less, and we can't get it out if it's too much. Wait, I'll say the same thing, Su Mew really wants to leave, we can't stop it. However, there was a lot of noise outside, but the main owner, Su Mew, didn't know anything about it. If he knew this, he might really have to do something. Not to mention spending time with Lu Fangfei, the #1 beauty in Donglai City, Tianzhou, who wants to make some small money to spend. At this moment, Su Mew is immersed in the joy of harvest. I have money again. Sure enough, the fastest way to get money is. At this moment, Su Mew has won a bonus of 100 million from the underground boxing hall. In addition, he asked Zhao Gang to help him buy himself to win, and the bet 165 million won. Adding up, these two items are 265 million, all of which are in his card. There is also a ring in his hand at the moment, which looks plain and unpretentious. But Su Mew knew that this ring was not simple. Although he was in a hurry at that time, he searched all over, and Heibo didn't have any other property on him. But at the edge of the ring, he saw Heibo take out the black card and the jade bottle containing the quenching body pill. Where can these things go? There is only one explanation: storage equipment, storage ring. Su Mew took a closer look, but couldn't see anything special about the ring. How do I open it? There is no other strong man behind him, and naturally no one taught him how to use the storage ring, and he couldn't take it to find the strong man he knew. Can only rely on his own groping. Su Mew tried to run qi and blood into the ring. No movement. Su Mew shook his head, and then tried to close his eyes and sense the storage ring in his hand with his heart. To put it bluntly, he used spiritual power to refine it. In the next second, Su Mew's eyes lit up. Efficient. Because a progress bar appeared in front of his eyes. Refining low-level storage ring progress. 0.000001%. Su Mew was very pleasantly surprised. The input of qi and blood was not working, but the refining progress bar appeared through the telepathy, which meant that the refining storage ring was refined with spiritual power. In other words, refining the storage ring consumes mental power. Su Mew thought that refining the storage ring was the same as the recognition of the master with blood in the novels she read before, but now it seems that it is not. Although qi and blood are also a kind of energy, they are obviously not manipulative. Su Mew frowned slightly. She had to be careful when using her mental power. The last time he learned to comprehend combat skills, he was still fresh in his memory of being unconscious after exhaustion of mental power. As for the refining storage ring, obviously it cannot be interrupted halfway, otherwise it will have to start all over again next time. Therefore, Su Mew is not sure whether he can refine this storage ring. In the next second, Su Mew clicked the fast-forward button. The familiar scene was staged again, 2 times, 4 times, 8 times. In the blink of an eye, fast forward to 512 times. Su Mew's spirit was quickly consumed. Until he felt dizzy, the refining progress finally reached 100%. For a moment, Su Mew held the storage ring in his hand, and he felt a connection between mind and heart. Then, with a thought, he actually sensed the space inside the ring. This space is very small, it is only the size of a small box. Su Mew also sensed the things stored in this space. A black metal token. A piece of crystal clear and unknown thing. In addition, there are 10 vials made of jade, which are exactly the quenching body pills that Heibo took out before. There is no black card in the storage ring, and I don't know if Heibo gave it to the staff to pay for it or what, but it is not there. Su Mew shook his head, but he didn't care about it anymore. He couldn't unlock the black card after he got it, and he couldn't withdraw the money. At that time, he would have to hand it over to the Lord Wangyang. The harvest time has come, and the harvest this time has exceeded Su Mew's expectation. With a thought in Su Mew's mind, all the items in the storage ring appeared in front of him in the next second. Looking at the things in front of her, Su Mew's eyes flickered. Needless to say, 10 jade vials, Quenti pill, one is worth 1 million. And in the 10 vials, each bottle contains 10 body quenching pills, a total of 100 pieces, with a total value of 100 million. Then there was the black metal token. When Su Mu picked it up, she felt a burning sensation in her hand, and there were 2 words on it, Yanwo. Is this the name of Moxia's gang? Su Mu didn't know the details, but obviously the token was a status symbol, and it seemed that the token also needed to be refined. Su Mu did not impulsively refine it directly. Who knows how the token black wave came from, and he doesn't know what will happen after refining. Su Mu pulled the token aside, and the value of the token is temporarily unknown. Then, another odd thing. The size of a fist, crystal clear, like glass, like crystal, but it is not true after careful identification. And it's warm and smooth in the hands, and upon closer inspection, it actually looks a bit like a skull. What the hell is this? Su Mu frowned slightly. I only hate that I have too little knowledge, and I don't know what this thing is at all. Of course, even if he didn't know the value of it, Su Mu could still guess that it might be worth a lot. Obviously, Heibo didn't know about this thing, but he saw it was extraordinary, so he kept it in the storage ring properly. Su Mu tried it, the blood was surging, but there was no response, and then the mental force sensed. Progress of refining Phantom Beast Skull, 0%. In the next second, the refinement progress was completely reduced to 0%. Su Mu was taken aback suddenly. Phantom Beast Skull. Is it really a skull? Can it be refined? But seeing so many zeros in the progress, Su Mu shook his head. It is obvious that refining this thing is more difficult than refining the storage ring, and his current mental strength may not be enough. But at this moment, Su Mu felt a burst of coolness coming, and his mental power that had not been fully recovered before refining the storage ring was quickly recovered. Su Mu was surprised. With flickering eyes, Su Mu thought of a question. Warrior together, pay attention to the unity of spirit, energy and spirit. Warriors, generals refine their bodies, warriors temper their bodies, warriors coagulate blood, and generals cast golden bodies. In fact, what they refine is blood essence, that is, essence. Obviously, there is still a stage of chi training and a stage of refining God. Su Mu frowned slightly. He had discovered the magic of spiritual power. As long as he has enough mental strength, he can practice any exercises, refine storage rings and other things, and he can complete them in the blink of an eye. It's a pity that he has no way to improve his mental power at all, not even a way to replenish his mental power. He can only let his body recover slowly. But now, looking at the Phantom Beast skull in his hand, Su Mu grinned. Phantom Beast, a monster related to spiritual power. Good thing, you don't have to worry about mental power consumption in the future. Because now he has discovered that this Phantom Beast skull can actually restore mental power, and this is still under the condition of not refining. Since it can be refined, it means that this thing must have other functions after refining, at least related to spiritual power. By the way, recovering energy and blood after consumption is also a form of cultivation. What about spiritual power? Su Mu's eyes were bright, as if he had discovered a new continent. Su Mu also thought that Heibo could transmit sound into secrets. Obviously, his mental strength is not weak, and it may have something to do with this Phantom Beast skull. Try it in the future. The most important thing now is to temper the body as soon as possible. The Hall test is coming soon, and there will be a Hall test later. Su Mu's most important task at present is to improve the progress of tempering skin. He is also very curious how many times he can complete the skinning. Soon, Su Mu put away the mysterious token, holding the Phantom Beast skull with both hands, and began to adjust his state. The Phantom skull is good for restoring mental power. If he wanted to cultivate, he naturally had to adjust his state to the best. Not long after, Su Mu felt full of energy, so she put away the Phantom Beast skull, picked up the jade vial, and poured out the quenching body pill. Tempering body pill, the size of a finger, was similar to the pills he had taken before. Moreover, one could also smell the strong medicinal fragrance, and could even sense that there was a trace of chi and blood fluctuations in it. Sure enough, it's much stronger than body tempering powder. Su Mu sensed it before taking it, just the trace of chi and blood fluctuations that Quen Ti-san didn't have. Obviously, the effect of this quenching body pill is far higher than that of quenching body powder. Then, Su Mu swallowed the body tempering pill and began to practice again. Click to fast forward, 2 times, 4 times, 8 times. Su Mu wants to challenge the fast-forward multiple of more than 60,000 again. Of course, he doesn't know if he can achieve it. In the blink of an eye, Su Mu increased the fast-forward multiple to 120,000 times. This speed was too fast. The quenching body pill that Su Mu swallowed was consumed in the blink of an eye, and he was forced to stop and swallow the quenching body pill non-stop. Now Su Mu is already familiar with swallowing quenching body pills, just like others eating jelly beans. No, to be precise, it is faster than eating jelly beans, because you have to chew on jelly beans. But Su Mu swallowed the quenching body pill, that is directly swallowed. He simply lifted the jade vial containing the quenching body pill and poured it directly into his mouth. As the cultivation progressed, he was immediately enveloped by energy, the blood in his body circulated automatically, and his body felt as if it was getting stronger at any time. Especially the skin, the tingling sensation hit. Su Mu could feel that the skin had become tougher. The skin that had been tempered many times still had impurities leaching out. Boom! A familiar buzzing sound came from within the body, and the 8th time of skin tempering was completed. A few tens of seconds later, the second buzz came. The 9th skin quenching is complete. In Su Mu's hand, there was only one bottle of quenching body pill left, and only one quenching body pill was left in it. But Su Mu stopped. It's not that he doesn't want to continue practicing, but the fast-forward button is gone. 9 times is the limit. Su Mu frowned slightly, and after consuming 99 body tempering pills, he tempered his skin to the 9th time. A total consumption of hundreds of millions. Su Mu is not sure if this is the limit of tempering the skin, but the disappearance of the fast-forward button means that he does not have the conditions to continue refining the skin. Tempering progress. 900%. Then, according to the usual practice, Su Mu washed off the grime on her body, and tried to circulate her qi and blood. The incomparably huge amount of qi and blood surged loudly. Boom! There was a sonic boom, and the air waves visible to the naked eye went away like shells. Fortunately, he was well prepared and bombarded against the air outside the window, otherwise the dilapidated house would have been ruined by this punch. 50,000 blood. Close to 60,000. This is the current strength of Su Mu's qi and blood. Of course, it is only an estimate. The specific data has not been tested by professional equipment, and he does not know it. The strength is probably less than 600,000. Su Mu frowned. In the blink of an eye, he was already close to 1,000,000 combat power. This is something that was unimaginable before. Millions of combat power. Many martial arts masters may not be able to achieve it. For a martial artist like Zhao Qinghe who was in the 9th level, he told Su Mu that his blood was as high as 9 million calories. But that is the 9th level of martial master. Condensing a drop of essence blood can increase nearly 10,000 cards of blood, just like Haai Bo, who is the existence of condensing a drop of essence blood, which can be regarded as stepping into the realm of martial arts. But in the face of Su Mu, he was not directly beaten to death with several punches. As for Su Mu, he was just a warrior at the first stage. He will have to refine other parts in the future, and he can't imagine how strong his blood is at the 9th layer of warrior realm. Immediately afterwards, Su Mu took a look at his skin. Now his skin can truly be said to be copper-skinned and iron-skinned, not stronger than copper-skinned skin. Su Mu's previous guess was correct. After 9 times of tempering, once the qi and blood are running, it can really show a silver light, and there is a hint of gold. From this point of view, 9 times is not the limit, but 10 times. Completely refined into golden skin. Su Mu made a bold guess. After the training was over, Su Mu was not idle. He took out the skull of the phantom beast again and started to refine it. It doesn't matter even if it can't be completely refined. Su Mu regards this process as strengthening the spiritual power. Fast forward and open, and the mental power will be exhausted soon. When the refining progress increased to about 10%, he felt dizzy and stopped. Sure enough, as soon as he stopped, the refining progress returned to 0. Su Mu didn't care, stopped refining, but held the phantom beast skull and meditated with eyes closed to recover her mental strength. Time passed slowly while Su Mu was repeatedly consuming mental power and recovering. Early the next morning, Donglai City became lively. Many apprentices from the 4 major martial arts halls, as well as a large number of onlookers and eat melons, rushed outside the city lord's mansion. Because today is the day of the test, First, the preliminary test will be conducted in the city lord's mansion, and then the qualified apprentices will go to Donghai City to participate in the real hall test. This is also a critical moment that determines the future and destiny of young people. Therefore, it is quite normal to attract everyone's attention. Last night, there was a lot of fuss about Shira, the first genius in Donglai City, but in the end it didn't matter, Shira didn't show up. Early in the morning, the city lord's mansion opened, and the city guards had already been guarding around the city lord's mansion. Not long after, a figure quickly approached Donglai City. Still far away, there was a powerful aura spreading out, causing everyone to look up. At this moment, in the city lord's mansion, City Lord Wang Yang soared into the sky. Ha ha ha, Brother Lu, stay safe. Old Wang, don't you live next door now? The visitor also made a joke. Soon, the two lowered their voices and chatted in a low voice, and landed in the city lord's mansion. The person who just appeared as naturally what Wang Yang said came from Donghai City, and the Inspector Lu was appointed by Donghai City. The purpose of his coming is naturally to supervise the initial test of Donglai City, and after the initial test, accompany Wang Yang to send the students who participated in the test to Donghai City. The hall test is organized and implemented by the Datang Mansion, but the test points are set up in major cities. Not long after, people from Li's martial arts came. The owner of the hall, Li Jianping, was followed by 3 apprentices, among whom Li Yiren was naturally among them. Yang's martial arts also came. The owner of the gym, Zhang Zhen, followed 2 apprentices, including his own son, Zhang Jie, who had been beaten up by Su Mu. Then Lu's martial arts also arrived. Headed by the owner Lu Xingwu, behind him is Lu Fangfei, the most beautiful woman in Donglai City, wearing a white dress. There are also 3 other apprentices from Lu's martial arts school. The last one to arrive was the Zhao family martial art museum. Zhao Qinghe and his son were present. Before reaching the gate of the city, Zhao Qinghe urged his son with a livid face, "Have you picked up yet?" Zhao Gang had a bitter expression on his face, no answer. He seems to have turned off his phone after transferring the money last night, until now. Naturally they said Su Mu. Hearing what the two said, Zhang Zhen, Lu Xingwu, and Li Jianping looked at each other and smiled immediately. Zhang Zhen curled his lips, "Where's Su Mu? Isn't that your whole card?" All 3 of them have gone to dig Su Mu, but they didn't dig it. Hearing this, everyone seemed to remember Su Mu. The impression Su Mu left on everyone in Donglai City was still on the matter of defeating Zhang Jie in the underground boxing hall. Afterwards, there was no news of Su Mu. Hearing Zhang Zhen's words at this moment, everyone started whispering. Why didn't Su Mu come? Hasn't this guy already broken through to the warrior realm? And he's even stronger than Zhang Jie, but he doesn't know how he compares to Lu Fangfei. You won't oversleep, will you? Everyone's discussion made Zhao Qinghe's complexion even darker. He rolled his eyes and glared at Zhang Zhen. Hey, I said 3, aren't you all looking for Shira in the whole city? Oh, no, it's not wanted, but looking for it. Has anyone been found? As soon as Zhao Qinghe said this, it was Zhang Zhen's turn to look ugly. But Zhao Qinghe didn't let it go, and continued. Why is there an annual salary of tens of millions, and there are also those who provide support with pills, combat skills, and exercises? You old martial arts gyms are still bullish, our Zhao's martial arts gym really can't compare. Just recommend me, who is Shira? Zhao Qinghe glanced at Zhang Zhen, Li Jianping and Lu Xingwu. The faces of the 3 were so ugly that they all stared back. Old Zhao, don't be shy, what about your family, Su Mu, who wants to repair her? Lu Xingwu snorted coldly, and said contemptuously. Hearing this, Zhao Qinghe became excited. Tisk tisk, don't you want to give away your precious daughter? What happened? Puff. Lu Xingwu almost vomited blood, and Lu Fangfei behind him was even more ashamed and angry. Lu Xingwu exploded immediately, his body was surging with energy and blood. Zhao, what did you say? What? Why don't you tell me? Zhao Qinghe was not to be outdone at all, and his blood was also surging. Seeing that the 2 men were at war, Zhang Zhen and Li Jianping who were beside them both took a step back in unison, looking like they were watching a show. But in the next second, a figure quickly appeared between the 2 of them, presumptuous. The person who came was naturally the city lord Wang Yang. As soon as he appeared, the two had no choice but to put away their arrogance and die down. But Wang Yang glanced at the two of them speechlessly. It's a lot of age, don't you think it's embarrassing? It's him. Lu Xingwu was furious and was about to accuse Zhao Qinghe. But Wang Yang waved his hand. Okay, Supervisor Lu from Donghai City has arrived, so don't embarrass me in Donglai City. Then, Wang Yang looked at Zhao Qinghe. Where is the person? Zhao Qinghe smiled awkwardly. Not yet. Hurry up and call. Wang Yang scolded angrily, and then waved his hands. Go in, don't make people wait too long, we have to rush to the East China Sea after we finish here. I'll call right away. There was no other way, Zhao Qinghe could only turn around and rush to Su Emu's house quickly. Zhao Qinghe left, and the remaining apprentices who participated in the test, and the three hallmasters also followed the city master into the mansion. Outside the door, only a group of onlookers were left. Not long after, a figure behind the crowd moved forward with some difficulty. Please give way. It was Su Mu who came, and Su Mu squeezed to the gate of the city lord's mansion in a daze, verified his identity, and then was put into the mansion. He didn't forget that today is the day of the first test. After working so hard for so long, isn't it for today? Entering the mansion, Su Mu quickly saw a large courtyard, where the apprentices were waiting respectfully, and of course, there was a lot of discussion. Sura, Shira, where did this guy come from? I don't know. After last night, it seems that the world has evaporated. Could it be a genius from the East China Sea, or even from Zhongling? It's possible. Our family still thinks that we can temporarily recruit the other party to support our appearance. Hearing everyone's discussion, Su Mu was stunned. Su Mu walked over, and everyone noticed that Zhang Jie, Li Yiren and other apprentices just nodded lightly, losing their previous enthusiasm. And Lu Fengfei glared at Su Mu faintly, then turned her head away and didn't look at him again. Only Zhao Gang rushed forward anxiously. Brother Mu, you've come. Su Mu looked confused. What's the situation? Before Zhang Jie, Li Yiren, and Lu Fengfei came to solicit themselves, it was not like this. Even if I didn't promise them, I shouldn't have such a cold attitude. Su Mu was stunned, but Zhao Gang who was next to him came over and smiled triumphantly. Brother Mu, I'm sure I saw you right, I knew you wouldn't be tempted by them. Hearing this, Su Mu was even more confused. What temptation? Brother Mu, stop pretending, you didn't know about such a big event last night. I even sent the message to your phone. Zhao Gang smiled proudly. Brother Mu is Brother Mu. Don't be tempted by money, and don't be distracted by your voice. Zhao Gang was praising Su Mu boastfully, and in the next second, Su Mu had already turned on the phone and quickly read the message Zhao Gang sent him, figuring out what happened last night. Su Emu's face darkened suddenly, and she kicked Zhao Gang who was still praising herself. Did you say it earlier? Zhao Gang looked at Su Mu with a dazed expression and ran to Lu Fengfei's side. Does what you said last night count? Su Mu seems to have missed 100 million. It can be seen that Su Mu ran over, but Lu Fengfei looked disgusted. What, didn't you say you want to have an in-depth exchange with me? What kind of treatment is there? Su Mu reminded. Lu Fengfei frowned. That was before, now. I'm not interested in you. Su Mu looked depressed. Are all women so fickle? What is fickleness? This is called no harm without comparison. Lu Fengfei raised her head with pride on her face. Comparison? With whom? Su Mu didn't react yet. Lu Fengfei frowned. Of course it's with Shira. You are also incomparable to him. Hearing this, Su Mu understood. Did she dare to compare herself with herself? That's right, they probably don't know that Shira is themselves. Su Mu was depressed, and was about to explain, I just. Okay, let's go, you really can't compete with Shira. Lu Fengfei never gave Su Mu a chance to speak. No. Su Mu became impatient. He didn't care if he didn't spend time with Lu Fengfei, but he could talk about good treatment, what kind of skills, what kind of annual salary, etc. But as soon as he opened his mouth, Lu Fengfei beat him back. Asura's vitality is as high as Wenka, how about you? Asura's combat power is as high as 100,000, how about you? A Shira warrior can cross a large realm and kill a warrior at the first level, can you? Su Mu was completely dumbfounded. Lu Fengfei looked like she was in love, but she didn't know that Su Mu was Shira. Not to mention Su Mu. Even Zhao Gang, who was following up next to her, also looked confused at the moment. Looking at Lu Fengfei's appearance, she looked like a young girl who was thinking about spring. The most important thing is that the person Lu Fengfei couldn't think of even if she killed her was Su Mu, whom she degraded to nothing, right in front of her eyes. No, listen to me. Su Mu hurriedly explained clearly that he didn't think too much money. But before he could continue, Lu Fengfei stared. Su Mu, listen to me. People value self-knowledge. Yes, I said before that I can communicate with you in depth, but that is to exchange martial arts experience, don't think too much. If there is no Shira, maybe I can think about it again, but now. Even if Shira doesn't show up, you're useless. I'll find him sooner or later, so give up on that. After finishing speaking, Lu Fengfei turned around and left, hiding away from Su Mu. Su Mu froze in place, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Okay, let's all come in. Also at this time, in the hall, City Master Wang Yang had ordered the machine to be adjusted and invited many apprentices to enter. Many apprentices walked into the hall of the City Lord's mansion one after another. At the scene, City Lord Wang Yang and Supervisor Lu sat at the top, and the three masters sat below. Zhao Qinghe was not there, so he ran to find Su Mu. There is an instrument in the center of the hall, and it seems that the surface is a little mottled. Seeing that everyone had come in, Wang Yang stood up and cupped his hands at Supervisor Lu next to him. This is the Lu supervisor envoy sent by Donghai City. Many apprentices understood and greeted with fists in their hands. This junior has seen Supervisor Lu. Okay, don't be too polite. Supervisor Lu also got up and returned the gift. Then, Wang Yang said, Inspector Lu, can we start? Are you still being polite to me? Supervisor Lu and Wang Yang are obviously old acquaintances, so he joked before continuing, let's get started, we have to hurry later. Good. Wang Yang grinned. I announce that the preliminary test of Donglai City has officially started. As soon as these words came out, all the apprentices became nervous. Wang Yang then arranged. Anyway, there aren't many people, so there is no need to draw lots or anything like that. Just follow the order of the martial arts halls, Zhang family, Li family, Lu family, Zhao family, that's it. After Wang Yang's words fell, two apprentices of Yang's martial arts academy, Zhang Jie and another person immediately stepped forward. Supervisor Lu pointed to the instrument directly in front of him. Put your hand on the instrument and run it with full energy and blood input. The apprentice of Yang's martial arts had the first test. He was so nervous. He put his hand on the instrument according to Supervisor Lu's words, and then he circulated the energy and blood in his body with all his strength. In the next second, the display screen connected to the instrument immediately lit up, and the numbers started to jump from 0. In less than 3 seconds, the number displayed on the display stabilized, 98. Unfortunately, the test failed. Supervisor Lu shook his head. Hearing this, the martial apprentice of the Zhang family's eyes turned red immediately, and he collapsed in an instant after taking a few steps back. I failed. The first person who came up did not meet the standard, and the atmosphere became a little tense for a while. Then, Zhang Jie stepped forward to test, and the result was 180 calories. Pass. As Supervisor Lu's words fell, the hearts of Zhang Zhen and his son also fell to the ground. Although this scene had been expected for a long time, the effect of actually hearing Supervisor Lu shout out the word, pass, is still completely different. There were only 2 people in the Zhang family, and the test was over soon, and then it was the Li family's turn. The 3 members of the Li family, Li Yiren's test results showed 150 calories, and the other 2 apprentices, one had exactly 100 calories, and the other had only 97 calories, so they were eliminated. Then it was the Lu family's turn. Lu's martial arts school is generally the strongest among the 4 major martial arts schools, and the most people come, including Lu Fengfei, a total of 4 people. The first 3 apprentices also exceeded 100 calories in the test, but the excess was not much, and they finally passed the test. During the whole test process, Supervisor Lu was very indifferent. If it wasn't for his duty, he wouldn't even be interested in watching it. Thinking about it, the same is true. He is a strong general. How interested he is in watching a group of little kids test their vitality. Especially not one with more than 200 calories, it's no wonder he's not interested. But when Lu Fengfei came forward, Supervisor Lu's eyes lit up. Not only because of Lu Fengfei's good looks and temperament, but as a strong general, he easily captured Lu Fengfei's aura, which was obviously stronger than the previous few. And it's not even a little bit stronger. Supervisor Lu suddenly became interested. Come on, although you can pass the initial test with 100 calories, you actually need at least 200 calories to join the martial arts hall. After the words fell, Lu Fengfei nodded obediently, put her hand on the tester, and ran her qi and blood with all her strength. After a few seconds, the display screen of the instrument stopped flashing, and the result came out, 360 cards. Swish. In an instant, Supervisor Lu stood up and praised without hesitation. Okay, very good, 360 calories, this is the third time to enter the skin tempering. Lu Fengfei withdrew the instrument, and nodded obediently again. Yes, it's almost finished the third time. Ha ha ha, it's not bad. When I go to the East China Sea and participate in the training camp, I will be able to reach at least 500 calories. By then, I will have no problem joining the martial arts pavilion with 3 successful skin tempering results. Guantange Dianfu, Wuj is already in the 3rd level. It is equivalent to Lu Fengfei's start being a bit higher than others. Of course, if he can complete the 4th test, and his qi and blood reach 1000 calories, he can even enter the legendary top 10 martial arts halls. Supervisor Lu was happy, and Lu Fengfei, father and daughter, were also very excited. When it came to Lu Fengfei, the initial test of Donglai City had reached a climax, which made Supervisor Lu look at it with admiration. Supervisor Lu sat back on his seat, smiled at Wang Yang and said, I didn't expect such a genius to come out of such a small city in Donglai. You, old Wang, deserve a lot of credit. Wang Yang waved his hands again and again. I don't dare to take credit for it. This is the jewel in the palm of old Lu, and he has devoted himself to cultivating it since he was a child. Lu Xingwu bowed his hands to Supervisor Lu and Wang Yang. The two of you are too proud, the little girl has limited talent, but I can't get into your eyes. The 3 of them were polite here, but they left Zhao Gang and Su Mu aside. When Lu Fengfei returned to the apprentice team, she raised her eyebrows at Su Mu arrogantly. As if provoking Su Mu, last time Su Mu rejected her, she said that Su Mu was too arrogant. Now, in turn, she showed Su Mu arrogantly. In her opinion, she has the confidence. Body quenched 3 times, qi and blood 360 calories. Su Mu is strong, but she will never surpass her. Su Mu could instantly kill Zhang Jie, so naturally she could, and she could be more crisp than Su Mu. After all, Su Mu has just broken through as a warrior. How much progress can he make in such a short period of time? On the contrary, Wang Yang quickly interrupted Lu Xingwu and Supervisor Lu, who were being courteous. There are 2 more, shall we continue? Okay, go on. Supervisor Lu sat back in his seat and waved his hands in a dull manner. Then, Zhao Gang stepped forward to test, and Supervisor Lu just sensed it, and he didn't even have the idea of reminding him. The result came out soon. Zhao Gang passed the test with a blood strength of 150 calories. In the end, only Su Mu was left. Su Mu didn't wait for Supervisor Lu's reminder, and walked directly to the instrument. But as soon as he walked over, Supervisor Lu frowned. How sensitive Lu Jian was. Even though Su Mu tried his best to restrain his breath on purpose, he still sensed a difference. Supervisor Lu looked at Su Mu suspiciously, and then turned back to look at Wang Yang. Wang Yang didn't speak, but there was a hint of expectation in his eyes. Supervisor Lu frowned. He didn't get much information from Wang Yang's eyes, but he became more interested in Su Mu. Then, Su Mu had already put his hand on the instrument. Supervisor Lu took a deep breath. Use all your strength, don't try to hide your strength, this is a test, and it's for you to perform. Oh, hearing this, Su Mu responded casually. But before he started the test, Wang Yang reminded again. Ahem, I'd better be a little more careful, this instrument is a bit old. As soon as these words came out, Supervisor Lu frowned even tighter. But at the scene, only Zhao Gang and Su Mu understood what Wang Yang meant. Lord Wang Yang is worried that Su Mu broke the instrument. Because this instrument is an old machine, it was discarded and sent to Donglai City after being replaced. not to mention old. The most important thing is that the upper limit of this instrument is very low. The upper limit of this instrument's energy in blood is 10,000 calories. The other 3 martial arts masters and several apprentices all looked confused, completely unaware of why Wang Yang said such a sentence suddenly. The next second, Su Mu started the test, and he naturally understood Wang Yang's words, and he just circulated his blood slightly. Seeing this scene, Supervisor Lu frowned, and looked at Su Mu with some displeasure. He thought Su Mu was trying to hide his clumsiness on purpose. Boom! But in the next second, the display screen of the instrument suddenly lit up. A total of 4 digits displayed on the display screen were all 9, and then the display screen flickered violently, and there was a stabbing sound, and a puff of green smoke rose from the rear of the instrument. Supervisor Lu immediately stood up, glanced suspiciously at the instrument, and then at Su Mu. How high is your qi and blood? Or is this instrument broken? Supervisor Lu was taken aback, let alone the others. At this moment, the owners of the 3 martial arts gyms all stared wide-eyed, completely stunned on the spot. They knew that there was a problem with the instrument, and they also knew that the upper limit of the instrument was low, but how strong was Su Mu's vitality to make the instrument scrapped directly? They were also suspicious. Is it a problem with the instrument itself, or Su Mu's blood is too strong, so the instrument was scrapped? Wang Yang's face was full of black lines, and he glanced at Su Mu with some complaints. I told you to take it easy. Ahem, I'm already taking it easy. Su Mu was speechless. Who knew this thing is so fragile? Puff. Hearing this, a group of people seemed to understand something, but they were still not sure. Supervisor Lu took a deep breath and waved to Su Mu. Punch me. He is a strong general, so it is very simple for him to know whether it is caused by Su Mu's too high qi and blood, or whether the equipment happened to be broken at Su Mu's place. That is to let Su Mu take the shot. Even, in order to prevent Su Mu from being too strong, he deliberately suppressed his own blood. In the next second, Su Mu nodded and punched the landing monitor. Boom! When there was a loud noise, Supervisor Lu's expression changed drastically, and his body even shook for a while. He was almost knocked back by Su Mu's punch without noticing it for a moment. Supervisor Lu looked at Su Mu in astonishment. So strong. A monster. As soon as Supervisor Lu said this, Lu Xingwu, Li Jianping, Zhang Zhen, Lu Fengfei and other apprentices at the scene didn't understand. It wasn't that the instrument was broken, but it was broken by Su Mu. The reason was that his vitality was too strong. How strong is Su Mu's blood if he can shake the body of a strong general with one punch? Sura, Shira, that's how it is. City Lord, you are hiding it so deeply. Su Mu is Shira. No wonder Lao Jiao is so embarrassing. The 3 deputy city lords reacted, each of them sighed. And the younger generation Zhang Jie, Li Jianping and Lu Fengfei were also completely dumbfounded at this moment. Su Mu is Shira. How is it possible? Su Mu is so strong. Especially Lu Fengfei. Her pretty face turned red in an instant, even her eyes were red, and tears came down the next second. This is crashing. At this moment, she can't wait to find a crack in the ground and drill down. Especially considering that she was using Shira to belittle Su Mu just now. She also said that Su Mu had no chance, and she demoted Su Mu to nothing. In the end, she scratched her head and couldn't think that Su Mu is Shira. Good guy, your blood is over 10,000. Supervisor Lu swallowed hard, and stared at Su Mu excitedly. He was assigned to the small place of Donglai City, and he didn't have much hope. There were not many people in this small place who could pass the test in the past, let alone geniuses who had been tempered many times. But now, Lu Fengfei appeared first, and the body was tempered for the 3rd time. Now, there is another Su Mu, and it is obvious that Su Mu's blood is very strong, too strong. Yes, naturally, there is no need for Su Mu to hide it. If a powerful military general cannot be seen even if he has broken blood, is he still called a military general? Of course, the other party had no way of knowing the specifics. Supervisor Lu could only guess that Su Mu had at least tens of thousands of blood. Ha 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 ha, this was a worthwhile trip. It was a worthwhile trip. Supervisor Lu laughed triumphantly. As a supervisor, although his test results in Donglai City had little to do with him, he was still happy. These talented monsters are the future backbone of the Datang mansion. But then Supervisor Lu frowned again. There is trouble now. The instrument is broken, and there is no need to change it temporarily, but the hall test needs the results of the preliminary test as proof. Hearing this, Wang Yang stared at Su Mu speechlessly, and continued. Inspector Liu, a talent like Su Mu can't be delayed by an old instrument. Supervisor Liu nodded fiercely. That's natural. This little guy has more than 10,000 blood, and he is sure to be able to participate in the temple test. He doesn't even need training to be qualified. Hearing this, Lu Fangfei and the younger generation were even more dejected, especially Lu Fangfei. She wanted to clear up the misunderstanding, but she didn't dare now. In her opinion, she and Su Mu seemed to be people from two worlds. And so it is. The rest of Zhang Jie, Li Jianping and the others are only envious at this moment, because Su Mu has reached a height that they can't even imagine. Old Liu, you have to help find a way. Wang Yang continued. Supervisor Liu nodded, pondered for a moment, and continued. How about this, when we arrive at the East China Sea test site, let him release the coercion, and I will go to the examiner to explain it myself. But hearing this, Su Mu was stunned. Release the coercion. Wang Yang nodded. Originally, I planned to teach you after arriving in the East China Sea. Now it's just right, let's teach you first. Hearing Wang Yang's words, Supervisor Liu was immediately satisfied. Old Wang, Lao Wang, are you planning to surprise a few other old friends? Hey, don't tell me if you see through. Wang Yang grinned triumphantly, and then taught Su Mu to release coercion on the spot without telling other apprentices. The so-called coercion is the deterrent force that releases the intensity of qi in blood. It is not a skill or a combat technique, but a small skill for moving qi in blood. Wang Yang introduced it. This is no secret in big cities like Donghai City. But few of the apprentices in Donglai City knew about it. The reason is very simple. Their qi and blood are too low, and it is useless to learn it, so who will be able to suppress the strength of qi and blood? Soon, Wang Yang finished teaching. He motioned Su Mu to try it, then turned his head and said to Zhang Jie and others. You can try it too, but don't release it when you arrive in Donghai City. Don't worry about shame. If you attract others to release you, you will be the one who suffers. Zhang Jie and the others turned dark, but they knew it was the truth. There is no way, their qi and blood are too low, and any apprentice from Donghai City may be stronger than them. If they go to Donghai City to unleash their coercion, wouldn't they be asking for trouble? As soon as Wang Yang finished speaking, there was a bang, and a wave of coercion dissipated instantly. Flop, flop, flop. In an instant, the scene fell down. Including the beautiful woman Lu Fangfei, many apprentices were crushed to the ground by this coercion. Suddenly, the atmosphere at the scene was extremely weird. A group of apprentices, none of them left, were all crushed to the ground. This scene looked very intrusive, as if a peerless monster was born and swept across the area. Not to mention these apprentices, even Zhang Zhen, Li Jianping, and Lu Xingwu, the three strong martial artists, were affected a little by Su Mu's release of coercion. The only ones who were not affected were the two general-level powerhouses. What is this concept? Su Mu is only in the first level of warrior, but his aura is so powerful. Supervisor Lu's eyes widened, and he murmured directly, so strong. More than tens of thousands. Even City Lord Wang Yang, who thought he knew the details of Su Mu, was confused at the moment. This fool, what's there to hide? At this moment, these two generals completely ignored the many apprentices who were lying on the ground and could not move. But they ignored it. Zhang Zhen, Li Jianping, and Lu Xingwu couldn't ignore it. All their apprentices were crushed, and it was their old face that was lost. Cough, cough, cough. Some of the three coughed dryly. Some people turned their heads away and did not see this scene. Others bowed their heads and counted the amount of fine hair on the back of their hands. No way, it's too embarrassing. After all, they are also deputy city lords, masters of the martial arts gym, and they have never been so embarrassing. Hearing their dry coughing, Wang Yang came back to his senses, raised his eyebrows, and then said to Su Mu. Not charged yet. Oh. Hearing this, Su Mu tried to restrain his coercion again. In the next second, many apprentices stood up with relief. As soon as they stood up, several apprentices turned around and ran away. It was too embarrassing. They were afraid that if they ran too slowly, they would be crushed by Su Mu again. Su Mu at this moment is as terrifying as a devil in their hearts. Especially Lu Fangfei, who collapsed even more. The other apprentices are fine, no matter how embarrassing they are boys, but she is a girl, and she was directly crushed to the ground, her image was completely ruined. But just as everyone turned around, there was a bang, and the coercion struck again. Plop plop. In an instant, a group of people were crushed down again. Ah, Su Mu, you fool. Brother Mu, please let me go. A group of people completely collapsed. The most important thing is that they just turned around, and before they ran out of the hall door, they were crushed down again. At this moment, Zhao Qinghe, who happened to be looking for Su Mu, hurried in. As soon as Zhao Qinghe came in, he saw a group of people lying on the ground, his eyes widened all of a sudden. Why do you give me such a big gift? Puff. As soon as these words came out, everyone at the scene almost vomited blood. Is this a salute to you? In the next second, Su Mu quickly withdrew the coercion and said with an embarrassed smile. Sorry, I just learned it, and I'm not yet proficient. A group of apprentices can't wait to vomit blood and die. Ha ha ha. Zhao Qinghe suddenly understood, laughed heartily, and directly gave Su Mu a thumbs up. Here you go. Even though his son Zhao Gang was also among those being crushed, Zhao Qinghe was still extremely proud. And not only did he laugh triumphantly, he also deliberately raised his eyebrows at Zhang Zhen, Li Jianping and Lu Xingwu with a look of provocation. The faces of the three of them turned into pig liver colors, and they turned their heads away from him. Then, Wang Yang waved his hand. Okay, the test is over, it's getting late, let's go. Then, he turned his head and looked at Su Mu. Stop practicing, practice again on the road later. Oh well, Su Mu nodded obediently. Then, Wang Yang looked at Supervisor Lu. Old Lu, I have to work you out this time. Supervisor Lu smiled. What a big deal, let's go. After saying that, Wang Yang and Supervisor Lu went out of the lobby and stood still. They wanted to take their people to Donghai City. Donglai City is not far from Donghai City, but it is not close. And the car has to pass through the chassis occupied by many monsters, and may even encounter some scattered demons. So for the sake of safety, Wang Yang and the inspectors from Donghai City took the apprentices directly to Donghai City every time. They are all military generals, and it is not a big problem to take the apprentices of the martial artist to travel, and the speed is not slow. Then, Wang Yang pointed to Su Mu, Zhao Gang, and Li Yiren from Li's martial arts school who followed him. You four come to my place. The rest will be in charge of Supervisor Lu. Wang Yang had already assigned them. There were 11 people participating in the preliminary test this time, and 9 people passed the preliminary test in the end. Li Yiren and an apprentice from Li's martial arts school, plus Su Mu and Zhao Gang from Zhao's martial arts house, there are 4 people in total, and he is in charge. Of course, Lu Fangfei and the remaining 3 apprentices in Lu's martial arts house, plus Zhang Jie from Yang's martial arts house, there are 5 people in total. Hearing Wang Yang's words, all the apprentices took action and stood beside the 2 of them. The 3 martial artists including Zhang Zhen stood up solemnly. On the other hand, Zhao Qinghe, who hadn't figured out the situation yet, looked confused. Let's go now. Wang Yang turned his head and gave a blank look. Then what do you say? Waiting for you to come back. Zhao Qinghe was stunned, his face blushed, and he waved his hands again and again. That's not what I mean, I just want to ask some old brothers if their old faces are swollen. He didn't know the results of the preliminary test. As soon as Zhao Qinghe said this, Zhang Zhen and the other 3 glared angrily. At this glance, Zhao Qinghe understood, and laughed again. Ha 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 ha, it's swollen. Okay, let's go. Wang Yang took the first step, and waved at Su Mu and the other 4, and the 4 came to his side uncontrollably, and he led them into the air. Warriors can't fly into the air, but warriors can, but they are not so comfortable, that is, they have such strength only when they reach the general level. But in the next second, Wang Yang, who had just vacated, staggered and almost fell from the sky. Wang Yang's face was ashen, and he roared angrily, "Stop practicing, go to the East China Sea and practice again." Originally, Su Mu's coercion had no effect on him, but it did have an effect on the other warriors. As soon as they struggled, he was directly affected and almost fell out of control. Su Mu smiled awkwardly. Didn't you ask me to practice on the road? Wang Yang's face darkened, he didn't say anything, and went away in a flash. But as soon as Wang Yang left, the 4 martial artists including Zhao Qinghe couldn't help but burst out laughing. Then, Supervisor Lu also took the 5 of them into the air. In the city lord's mansion, the remaining 4 hall owners looked towards the sky one after another, watching a group of people go away with a trace of expectation and nervousness. Zhao Qinghe took a deep breath while the person hadn't gone far. Su Mu, bring back the first place in Donghai City for our Zhao martial arts school. Su Mu didn't reply, but Supervisor Lu, who was walking behind, spoke up. Number 1 in the East China Sea. With his current energy and blood, he is already. You should say, let him bring back the number 1 in the province. As soon as these words came out, Zhao Qinghe was stunned, and then laughed and replied. By borrowing the auspicious words from Supervisor Lu, then bring back the number 1 of the entire Tang mansion. In the blink of an eye, Wang Yang and Supervisor Lu had already left with 9 apprentices. Watching the familiar Donglai city rapidly shrinking under the feet, and finally gradually disappearing. A group of young people gradually fell silent. Even Su Mu stopped practicing to release the coercion. Except for a few of them, many of them left Donglai City for the first time, and even if they went out occasionally, they would never leave too far. This world is the world of martial arts. In addition to human warriors, there are demon cultivators and a large number of monsters. The wild, full of dangers, is not a place where apprentices like them can go. So, seeing the vast world for the first time, everyone was busy looking around, but there was a short silence. Soon, Wang Yang and Supervisor Lu were walking side by side. Both of them were generals, and this scene was already familiar to them. How is the situation in Donghai City this year? Wang Yang asked casually. It's okay. It's about the same as in previous years. There are quite a few people who quench their bodies twice, but 3 times or less. I haven't heard of more than 4 times. Inspector Lu was halfway through speaking, but stopped again, glanced at Su Mu, and shook his head. Except for this little guy. Needless to say, Su Mu is definitely more than 4 times, or even higher. Hearing the discussion between the two, many apprentices also came to their senses. And Su Mu's eyes lit up. So, I am sure to win the first place in Donghai City. Supervisor Lu nodded. Just talking about the number of quenching times, you are definitely the first, even the blood, but not necessarily in other aspects. Su Mu frowned, not understanding what Supervisor Lu meant. Wang Yang smiled and explained. Tang test, also known as the Martial Hall test, our Donghai City is organized by the number 1 Martial Hall in Donghai City. This is the real martial artist test. The test is limited to apprentices under the age of 18, but it does not limit the realm. The test items are divided into 3 categories, one is blood, the second is strength, and the third is actual combat. Then, Wang Yang briefly introduced the testing process. It's very simple, there are special instruments for the qi and blood test, just like the initial test, and the data can be obtained by running the qi and blood input at full capacity. The strength test is a dynamometer, and it is also an automatic test of the instrument. The final actual combat was different. The actual combat test will be tested by the City Guard Army specially organized by Donghai City. I see. After listening to the introduction, Su Mu nodded. That is to say, there are still people who may be at the 2nd level of warriors or at the 3rd level, or even higher. That's right, and there are quite a few of them. Supervisor Lu responded. Not everyone will always pursue multiple tempering. Under normal circumstances, it's not bad to have about 3 times of tempering, not because they don't want to, but because they are limited by resources or talents. Only a few evildoers will pursue multiple times of tempering, in order to lay a solid foundation. Quote. Wang Yang also interjected. I don't worry about you for the test of blood and strength, what I worry about is the actual combat test. After all, our Donglai can't compare with other cities. There are many geniuses who have successfully cultivated combat skills and have a high increase in strength. Following Wang Yang's words, Su Mu grinned. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I'm number 1 in Donghai City. City Lord, why don't you fulfill your promise first? Oh, by the way, there's still a share for exterminating demon cultivators. Su Mu has a good memory, but he has not forgotten what Wang Yang promised. Wang Yang talked about the test rewards in the martial arts gym before. The first is qi and blood, starting with 100 calories, and every additional 100 calories will increase by 1 million. Su Mu's blood is close to 60,000 now, so the bonus has to be 600 million. The first place in Donghai City, 100 quenching body pills, worth 100 million. The province's top 100, a mysterious top-grade combat skill. In addition, Su Mu participated in the extermination of Moxiu, and Wang Yang agreed to capture 10% of it. But at this moment, Wang Yang's face turned dark when he heard Su Mu's words. In order to encourage Su Mu before, he said to increase the reward. But now with a simple calculation, he actually had to give Su Mu hundreds of millions, even for the quenching body pills. He had agreed with the masters of the 4 major martial arts gymnasiums and they would provide them. But for the rest, he also got a lot. Donglai City is just a small town, and there may be hundreds of millions in the treasury a year. Seeing that Wang Yang remained silent, Su Mu gave a dry cough. My lord, aren't you trying to play tricks? Shut up. Wang Yang was speechless, and with a wave of his hand, he directly threw a book of combat skills to Su Mu. Take it, promise your mysterious high-grade combat skills. Thank you, the city lord. Su Mu was not polite, he just put it away. If it wasn't inconvenient for him to be on his way, he would be ready to practice right away. Just kidding, this is a mysterious level combat skill, and what he is using now is only a top-grade yellow level combat skill. After comprehending this mysterious high-grade combat skill, his combat power will increase dramatically again. But even with the combat skills, Su Mu still didn't intend to let Wang Yang go just like that. City Master, do you still have money? Even if the bonus is not mentioned for the time being, what about the reward? Hearing Su Mu's words, the other apprentices around were also whispering secretly. Su Mu was probably the only one who dared to talk to Lord Wang Yang like that in Donglai City. Of course, they also know now that the extermination of Moxiu was completely planned by Wang Yang and Su Mu in advance. It can only be said that Haai Bo, the owner of the underground boxing hall, died without any injustice. Come on, don't ask any more questions. I have taken the demon cultivation base, and the exact amount has not been calculated yet. I will give it to you after you finish the test. Anyway, it will be yours sooner or later. What's the rush? Wang Yang gave Su Mu an angry look. Only then did Su Mu nod his head, and continued to study how to release coercion. Your way of release is wrong now, you have to be targeted, you are now covering everything without distinguishing between enemies and friends. Wang Yang curled his lips, and taught Su Mu how to release the coercion while he was on the road. You have to gradually learn to control the release of qi and blood coercion, which will also help you a lot in future battles. It's best to only target one person. Okay, I'll try. Su Mu nodded in response, and immediately began to try. In the next second, Zhao Gang next to him was the first to bear the brunt, and his face instantly became ugly. Wang Yang was also affected, and cursed again. Don't try the people around you. Oh well. Su Mu grinned, and turned her head to look at the few people who were being led by Supervisor Liu. Boom, the coercion was released, and the 5 of Lu Fengfei were instantly suppressed. Even the land supervision was affected. Supervisor Liu glared at Su Mu with a dark face. Wang Yang quickly said, "Stop it. Can't you test it against the air? You must find someone to try it." Su Mu chuckled, and then started to attack the other warriors, and began to practice against the air. This technique is actually quite simple, and it didn't take long for Su Mu to use it with ease. Not to mention that all the coercion is released on one person, at least it can distinguish between the enemy, and concentrate most of the coercion on one person. As for Wang Yang, although he has been on his way all the time, he has actually been paying attention to Su Mu all the time. Even Supervisor Liu is the same. Seeing that Su Mu quickly adapted to releasing the coercion, the two looked at each other with surprise in their eyes. They were not as fast as Su Mu when they first learned how to release coercion, at least it took a few days to get familiar with it. And Su Mu himself didn't know what was wrong with him learning so quickly, he thought it was normal. In fact, it has something to do with his mental strength. Especially after getting the Phantom Beast skull, he didn't realize that his mental strength had improved a lot. Su Mu, I have a question for you. Not long after it was quiet, Wang Yang was the first to find the topic impatiently. City Lord, please speak. Are you really a disciple of King Tang? Wang Yang hesitated for a moment, but still asked the question he wanted to ask the most. In such a short period of time, Su Mu has grown to such an extent that he doesn't believe that Su Mu has no background. Of course, this guess was first proposed by Zhao Qinghe. Hearing Wang Yang's question, everyone at the scene pricked up their ears. The several apprentices in Donglai City, naturally needless to say, even Zhao Gang was very curious about it. Supervisor Lu was also very interested. Su Mu came from Donglai City, and she was just an orphan, with no money or power. Even judging from Wang Yang's tone, Su Mu was not outstanding at all before. All of a sudden, Su Mu became incomparably enchanting. Su Mu's current level of evildoer has even surpassed those so-called genius evildoers in Donghai City, and can compete with the Tianzhao of Zhongling Province, and even the Tianzhao of Datang City. Seeing everyone looking at her, Su Mu shook her head like a rattle. I've told the museum owner a long time ago, it's really not. Wang Yang nodded fiercely, as if he understood. Everyone around seemed to have gotten the answer they wanted, and they all nodded slightly. Su Mu was speechless and didn't bother to explain. Just in time, he is destined to go to a higher and bigger stage in the future, and he also needs to pull a tiger skin, and the king of Tang dynasty is naturally the best tiger skin, and others have to weigh him if they want to move him. Of course, the most important thing is that Su Mu has never admitted that even if the king of Tang dynasty suddenly appeared, he would be able to pick himself out. Not long after, a city with a huge area appeared in everyone's eyes. Donghai City is more than 10 times larger than Donglai City. Still far away, Su Mu and other apprentices were attracted by the huge city. At this moment, Wang Yang said to Su Mu, "When I get to the place later, I may meet some old guys who are not very open-eyed. You have to be smart and don't embarrass me." As soon as Wang Yang opened his mouth, Supervisor Lu laughed beside him. Old Wang, I have silently mourned for those old brothers. Hey, who told them to bully me, an honest person, all the time? Wang Yang raised his eyebrows triumphantly. Old Lu, don't let the news out. Don't worry, I won't. I don't have the time to participate in that little mess between you. Supervisor Lu waved his hand. He can actually understand Wang Yang. Wang Yang was assigned to Donglai City, which is almost the smallest city under the jurisdiction of Donghai City, and he was holding a breath in his heart. The most important thing is that in the previous tests, Donglai City was at the bottom every time. And the apprentices in Donglai City are always the object of ridicule from all sides. Now as long as you mention the ones from Donglai City, you will naturally be labeled as useless, at the bottom, and dragging your feet. There is no way. This is the current situation of Donglai City in the past. Obviously, Wang Yang pinned all his hopes of elation on Su Mu, and this time he went to Donghai City because he wanted to do something. But when the two were talking, Su Mu frowned. As the city lord ordering me or begging me? Puff. Wang Yang almost vomited blood, and gave Su Mu a hard look. What's the matter? This hasn't taken off yet, and you're starting to look down on me, the city lord. What's wrong with ordering you? What's wrong with you, please? Su Mu continued without changing expression and heartbeat. No, that's not what I mean. If it's an order, I can only obey it, but I don't know if I can be better than the geniuses in other cities by then. If you are begging me, it will be easier. You are our city lord. If you have already spoken, I will naturally go all out. Su Mu grinned, but Wang Yang rolled his eyes. Don't beat around the bush, tell me, what's the condition? Ahem, cough, I didn't mention the conditions, you asked me to mention them yourself. Su Mu coughed dryly. Forget about money and the like, talking about money hurts feelings, not to mention you are also a poor ghost. You are the poor ghost, and your whole family is poor ghosts. Wang Yang glared at Su Mu like a child. Su Mu is not angry either, he is the only one in his family, it doesn't matter, I want the exercises cultivated in the warrior realm. Wang Yang curled his lips, that's it. Don't worry, I have already considered it for you. As long as you perform well and the test is over, I will take you to meet someone. There are no exercises in Donglai City, and there are only the lowest level exercises. Most of the exercises are in the hands of institutions above the martial arts hall, as well as the major families. Although the exercises are precious, but the Tang Manor is a martial artist. As long as one has the qualifications and meets the requirements, it is not difficult to apply for the exercises. Of course, it would be different if it was an advanced exercise. While speaking, a group of people had already arrived outside the city of Donghai, and Supervisor Liu and Wang Yang fell to the ground early and wisely. Donghai City is no better than the small Donglai City. It is not easy to fly around. Not long after, under the leadership of Wang Yang and Liu Zhangjian, 9 warriors including Su Mu from Donglai City passed the identity verification at the gate of the city and entered the city. In the city, everyone in Su Mu was amazed to see Donghai City, which is far more prosperous than Donglai City. Soon, under the leadership of Supervisor Liu, a group of people arrived at their destination, Donghai Hotel. It is not the most advanced hotel in Donghai City, but it is the official place for Donghai City to entertain guests. Tomorrow is the official test. People will come from the 19 large and small cities under the jurisdiction of Donghai City, and everyone will live in this Donghai Hotel. But at the entrance of the hotel, Su Mu and others failed to enter the hotel. The reason is again because of Su Mu. Because he has no official preliminary test results. At this moment, Supervisor Liu has entered the hotel to find the person in charge to explain the situation. A group of people in Donglai City could only wait in place. Wang Yang. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. When everyone turned their heads, they saw another group of people coming to the hotel. The leader was a middle-aged man, who was about the same age as Wang Yang, and trotted to Wang Yang's side with a smile all over his face. Wang Yang frowned, and then laughed hypocritically. Old Ghost Zheng, long time no see. Yeah, the last time I saw you was when your entire army in Donglai City was wiped out. The middle-aged man opposite opened his mouth with a 100,000 crit strike, directly ahead of the last time that the apprentices who came to Donglai City for the test failed to enter the martial arts hall. Wang Yang's expression remained unchanged, and he continued to laugh. Last time I relied on old Ghost Zheng for your help, otherwise Zhu Jinyu should be fine. Zhu Jinyu, Su Mu and others have also heard of it. The previous apprentices belonged to Liu's martial arts academy in Donglai City. They had hoped to pass the test and join the martial hall with a blood score of 200. In the end, for some unknown reason, in the official test later, it was a bit short and regrettably returned to Donglai City. Fortunately, in the end, a martial arts school in Donghai City made an exception and admitted Zhu Jinyu because of insufficient enrollment. Hearing this, Liu Fengfei frowned tightly. Others don't know the specific situation or why Zhu Jinyu made a problem in the test, but she knows it. Hey, old Wang, what you said is wrong. That matter has nothing to do with me, it's just a dispute between juniors. Hearing Wang Yang's words, the middle-aged man said with a serious face. Ha ha ha, it's okay. It's all over, don't mention it, don't mention it. Wang Yang waved his hands, as if he really didn't care, and then introduced to Su Mu and others. This is my old friend, Zheng Shangdong, the lord of Pingchang City. Pingchang City is a big city. Wang Yang emphasized the intonation of the word, friend, naturally speaking for Su Mu. I've seen City Lord Zheng. Su Mu and others held their fists in greeting. Zheng Shangdong waved his hand. No need to be too polite. No need to be too polite. While speaking, Zheng Shangdong sized up Su Mu and the others. Naturally, Wang Yang also looked at the circle of apprentices brought by Zheng Shangdong. In Donglai City, there were 9 students participating in the test. On the other side, there are more than 30 people in Pingchang City. There is no comparison in quantity. Besides breadth, the apprentices in Pingchang City are obviously stronger than everyone in Donglai City. In the next second, Zheng Shangdong laughed again. The number of people is increasing, one more than last year. There is progress. I don't know how many people are making up the number this time. Hey, brother, what's the matter with you? Why are there so few people this year? Wang Yang turned back. Ha ha ha, that's what I said. Zheng Shangdong grinned. We in Pingchang would rather lack than overflow, and we have passed the stage of pursuing quantity. During the conversation, both of them were very enthusiastic, although there was obvious anger between the words. But the strange thing is that the two of them are very familiar, holding hands and going to the side to chat. Before leaving, Zhang Shangdong glanced at an apprentice who had been following behind him. Wang Yang also patted Su Mu on the shoulder before leaving. Zhang Shangdong and Wang Yang walked to a distance and seemed to be chatting very passionately. Only 9 warriors including Su Mu from Donglai City and 30 warriors from Pyeongchang City were left at the scene. Interesting, Pyeongchang City and Donglai City are fighting again. Always bullying Donglai City. It's boring. You're at the bottom and don't let Donglai City go. Tisk tisk, the good show is coming again, and Donglai City has become a sweet pastry again. This hotel is not deserted, there are people coming and going. Seeing this scene at this moment, the people around stop and discuss. Obviously, this is not the first time, and this happens in every test. As for Donglai City, it is obvious which side has always been abused. No way, who made them the weakest? Squeezing persimmons to pick the softest ones, people have such inferiority. Sure enough, before the 9 people in Donglai City who were looking at each other could react, the young man headed by Pyeongchang City suddenly took a step. Immediately afterwards, the remaining apprentices in Pyeongchang City also took a step forward, and the breath of 30 people seemed to gather together in an instant, forming a powerful coercion and rushing towards everyone in Donglai City. Pyeongchang City still has some talents this year. This coercion is not weak. These little guys in Donglai City are going to be miserable again. Feeling the coercion released by the youth led by Pyeongchang City, everyone at the scene shook their heads, as if they had seen the miserable appearance of the 9 apprentices in Donglai City. The faces of everyone in Donglai City changed, and some even couldn't help but started to back away. Su Mu raised her brows. Although she was on the same level as Wang Yang before in negotiated terms, he will not lose the chain at this critical moment. In the next second, Su Mu's energy and blood surged, and he took a step forward, directly blocking everyone in Donglai City. Hiss. Is this kid looking for death? Is it so fierce? Bear it alone. Wang Yang, the lord of Donglai City, didn't tell these little guys what coercion is. Seeing Su Mu blocking the front, the crowd gasped and exclaimed. There is no other reason. Although coercion is generally not just deterrent, it will not cause substantial damage. But if the gap between the two sides is large, it will also be injured. As for Su Mu, who is from Donglai City, he is naturally labeled as a loser and not favored by everyone. The most important thing is that what he is facing at this moment is not the coercion released by the apprentice led by Pyeongchang City, but the coercion released by the 30 people on the opposite side. Although the coercion of the 30 people was not completely twisted into one rope, most of them gathered together. In this way, Su Mu will be seriously injured if he does not die. But in the next second, everyone's eyes widened, only to see Su Mu standing in place, not only blocking the coercion, even acting like a normal person, and grinning at the 30 people opposite. What? Want to fight? As soon as Su Mu finished speaking, before the opponent could react, he followed the technique of releasing coercion he had learned before, and crazily released it towards the Pyeongchang City apprentice on the opposite side. Especially the leading boy, Su Mu takes care of him most of the time, and most of them lean on each other. Boom. Well, the young man in the lead didn't have time to react, he was hit in an instant, and the powerful and unparalleled coercion hit him. He only felt that his eyes went dark and he lost his intuition. In the eyes of everyone, the Pyeongchang City boy was bleeding from the corner of his mouth, his face instantly turned purple, and he fell back straight. Boom. The boy fell to the ground and passed out directly. Immediately afterwards, there were continuous thumping sounds, and none of the remaining 29 apprentices were crushed to the ground. In an instant, the scene became strangely quiet. All the onlookers stared wide-eyed, with expressions of seeing a ghost. Su Mu alone blocked most of the coercion of the 30 people, not to mention, even killed them all in the blink of an eye. The young man in Pyeongchang City who bore the brunt was directly overwhelmed by the coercion and passed out. In the next second, before everyone recovered from the shock, they heard a roar. You are courting death. The voice was naturally from Zhang Shangdong. He and Wang Yang deliberately stepped aside to create opportunities for their apprentices. But even when Zhang Shangdong was killed, he didn't expect that the people he brought would be so unbearable. No, to be precise, the apprentice brought by this Wang Yang is so terrifying. The most important thing is that the leading apprentice is none other than Zhang Ziyang, a descendant of his Zhang family. Although he is not a descendant of his direct lineage, he is also an outstanding member of the Zheng family's younger generation, and he has attracted much attention and focused on training him. But now, Zheng Ziyang was so shocked that he passed out as soon as he came up. This will definitely affect tomorrow's test. With the roaring sound, Zheng Shangdong appeared in front of Su Mu in an instant, and the terrifying coercion enveloped him directly. He is also the lord of the city, and also exists in the realm of generals. How powerful is the coercion of qi and blood? In just an instant, Su Mu felt as if she had sunk into the sea of Wang Yang. Her body was completely out of her control. In the next second, even his consciousness began to blur, not to mention that his body seemed to be squeezed by a huge force, his bones creaked, and a trace of blood even overflowed from the corner of his mouth. But for a split second, Su Mu was not directly crushed. In the next moment, Wang Yang appeared in front of Su Mu, raised his hand and punched out. Your surname is Zheng, you are looking for death. Wang Yang was so furious that he raised his hand to punch, and it was a punch with all his strength, without any reservations. Boom! Zheng Shangdong naturally fought back with a punch, and the two hit each other, and a terrifying wave of air swept around. The entire vicinity of Donghai Hotel felt like an earthquake. If the two of them hadn't protected the apprentices behind them at the same time, many apprentices who were so close would have been seriously injured if they didn't die. This is a general-level powerhouse, so powerful and terrifying. But what people didn't expect was that Zheng Shangdong, not Wang Yang from the small town of Donglai, suffered the loss in a collision. The two broke up as soon as they touched each other, but Zheng Shangdong stepped back a few steps, his face turned blue and red, obviously uncomfortable. And Wang Yang is like a normal person. The next second, Wang Yang turned his head to look at Su Mu. Seeing Su Mu shaking his head to confirm that it was nothing serious, he looked a little better. Immediately afterwards, Wang Yang charged again. Too much bullying. Do you really think I'm easy to bully in Donglai town? I think you have forgotten. My name, Mr. Wang, will be remembered by you today. After Wang Yang finished speaking, he rushed out instantly and slapped Zheng Shangdong. At this moment, Wang Yang didn't have the laughing and joking before, he didn't have the easygoing look of laughing and laughing with Su Mu, but was extremely domineering. His qi and blood were extremely tyrannical, and between waving his palms, ghost images appeared one after another, instantly blocking Zheng Shangdong's surroundings. Zheng Shangdong's face was solemn, and his blood was also surging. There was no way to avoid it, so he had no choice but to bite the bullet and accept Wang Yang's move. The onlookers also widened their eyes at this moment, as if they had forgotten the shock that Su Mu brought them before. Wang Yang, the leader of the Wu Wei army squad, once killed more than 10 general-level monsters by himself. Wang Yang, he once traversed the catacombs and killed countless people. He is known as Yama of the 9 temples. This is a military general who has come out of fighting. Even if his future achievements are limited, even if he retires, it is not comparable to ordinary generals. Until this moment, many people thought of Wang Yang's past. Although he was only the lord of Donglai City and a general, he was not weak. At this moment, it was also the first time for Su Mu and others to see such domineering Wang Yang. Everyone looked at Wang Yang in reverence. Boom! At this moment, Wang Yang dropped his palm. Zheng Shangdong went all out and slapped him. In the next second, Zheng Shangdong couldn't bear it anymore, and he just opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of old blood. The surname is Zheng, and there are other old things who want to make fun of me in Donglai City, please let me know. Reluctantly, Wang Yang bullied him again, and punched out again. You can handle me, but you can't handle my Donglai City Jr. If Wang Yang doesn't make a move, it's enough. Once he makes a move, it's still the same style of play in the Wu Wei army, that is, he will never die. Boom! In the next second, a figure suddenly appeared, and with just a wave of his hand, Wang Yang and Zheng Shangdong were separated directly. He's a military commander again. And obviously stronger than generals like Wang Yang and Zheng Shangdong. Presumptuous. The visitor snorted coldly. Is Donghai City a place for you to be presumptuous? Seeing the person coming, Zheng Shangdong was full of a grieved face, but he also breathed a sigh of relief. He knew that the other party would show up to stop him, but if the other party showed up later, he would be miserable. Zheng Shangdong took a deep breath. Commander Wang, it's him. Shut up. The person who came was the commander of the guards of Donghai City, a strong general, responsible for monitoring the entire Donghai city, so naturally nothing could escape his eyes. Commander Wang snorted coldly, glanced at Zheng Shangdong and Wang Yang and said directly, "It's forbidden to do anything in Donghai city, don't you know?" Wang Yang cupped his hands. Wang is willing to admit punishment. Zheng Shangdong sighed, as if he understood something, and cupped his hands with a dark face. Shangdong also accepts the punishment. Snort. Commander Wang snorted again, before continuing. Zheng Shangdong, exert coercion on the younger generation, break the rules, and fine you 3 years' salary. You can go find it yourself and explain the situation. Wang Yang, if you do something in the city without authorization, you will be fined for 1 year. Do you two have any objections? Commander Wang quickly gave advice on how to deal with it, and it was obvious that Zheng Shangdong's handling was more serious. In fact, Zheng Shangdong used coercion on an apprentice of Su Mu to break the rules. Not only was it as simple as a fine, but he also had to go to the governor of Donghai City to explain the situation. Punishment is indispensable. Zheng Shangdong's face was gloomy, and he cupped his hands. No. After finishing speaking, Zheng Shangdong brought the awakened Zheng Ziyang, quickly entered the hotel, and left the place. But Wang Yang grinned. No objection. HMPH. Don't be an example. If someone does something recklessly again, don't blame this commander for being ruthless. Commander Wang snorted coldly and disappeared. A farce ended like this, and finally ended with 2 city lords being fined. And everyone, at this moment, also saw the arrogance of the city lord of Donglai City. Others also looked at Su Mu. Donglai City, it seems to be different this time. That's right, Wang Yang is no longer low-key, but started to make things happen. This is emboldened. His confidence is that little guy. Although I don't know Su Mu's details yet, I can tell that Su Mu is not weak. At least obviously stronger than Zheng Ziyang in Pingchang City. And Zheng Ziyang, who had tempered his skin 3 times, was a warrior in the first stage, and had more than 500 qi in blood. But facing Su Mu, he was directly stunned by the coercion. While everyone was discussing, Wang Yang laughed triumphantly. Ha 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 ha, cool, it's been a long time since I've had such fun. Then, he patted Su Mu on the shoulder, very satisfied with Su Mu's performance. Su Mu, don't be afraid. What's the matter in this Donghai City? As long as it is within the rules, just one word, do it. Then Supervisor Liu also came out. Hearing what happened, Supervisor Liu had black lines all over his face. I knew you were going to make trouble, but I didn't expect it to be so big. I'm afraid everyone knows about it now. But Wang Yang waved his hand. It's okay, so what if you know? I didn't see him say anything when I was bullied in Donglai City. Supervisor Liu shook his head, and instead of arguing with Wang Yang, he led everyone into the hotel. Inside, let Su Mu release the coercion, confirm that the blood exceeds the standard, and then check in. Wang Yang asked people to open a total of 3 rooms. It's called saving. 3 rooms, 2 single rooms on the top floor, naturally the best rooms in the hotel. There is 1 room left, which can accommodate 8 people. And the allocation is also very simple. Su Mu has a single room, and the girl Lu Fengfei has a single room, both of them are on the top floor. And Wang Yang himself lived in Datongpu with the remaining 7 apprentices. The others naturally had no objection to this assignment, but Su Mu was a little flattered, but accepted it calmly. On the contrary, Lu Fengfei was uneasy. She was allocated a single room because she was a girl, not because of her strength or talent. Chapter 31. In Donghai City, the Dutong mansion of Donghai City, which is countless times more magnificent than the Donglai City City Lord's mansion, Chen Xuan, the Dutong, was checking the information presented by his subordinates in the hall. This information includes Donghai City, as well as the 19 cities under the jurisdiction of Donghai City, and the initial test results reported by the city's newspapers. In the initial test, only 1 item was tested, that is qi and blood. But qi and blood are also the most important. From these materials, we can also see the general level of Donghai City this year. But as he read the information, Chen Xuan frowned more and more. That's it, snapped. Dutong Chen Xuan smashed the report directly on the table, his face livid. Including the 5 people from Donghai City, there are only 10 people with tens of thousands of blood. Dutong, this is much better than last year. Chen Xuan was angry, but his subordinates still had to report the truth. How could Chen Xuan not know, but his grades were too poor. Dongnei City is at the bottom of Donghai City, and Donghai City is at the bottom of Gyeongyang Province. But the more he was at the bottom, the more he needed results. Obviously, this year is probably hopeless again. No, we can't just go on like this. There isn't even a single person who can enter the Great Tang Martial House. If this continues, Donghai City will simply be revoked. Chen Xuan stood up directly and walked back and forth in the hall. Pass down the order. This year's hall test, those who have more than 50,000 qi and blood will enter the qi and blood pool, and if they are pushed hard, they will be pushed to the standard of entering the Detang Mansion. After saying this, the staff next to me were stunned, their eyeballs seemed to be about to fall off. Qi and blood pool. This is a pool of qi and blood accumulated for 10 years, for a warrior. So what? Chen Xuan snorted coldly. Also, if the combat power exceeds 1 million, the best weapon of the mysterious level, the blood spear, will be rewarded. Assessment in actual combat. Kill the division level 9 major monsters, and reward a prefecture level combat skill. When Chen Xuan, the governor of the capital, said this, the staff were completely stunned. Such a reward, let alone a martial artist, is a martial artist, and even a strong military commander is jealous. Why, do you think it's too high? The governor Chen Xuan grinned. The staff member nodded dumbfounded. He really wanted to say, this is not only high, it is too high, such a high reward, even generals would be jealous, let alone a mere warrior. And Chen Xuan raised his eyebrows. The requirements are not low. Those who can meet this condition will definitely be able to enter the Detang Martial Mansion. Is there such a monster in Donghai City this year? Hearing this, the staff member's face darkened again, and he shook his head directly. At present, there is no such thing. The data from all parties have been collected here, and the results of the preliminary test so far, the highest is 14,000 calories of energy and blood. Of course, it is not ruled out that individual apprentices hide their clumsiness in order to make a big splash in tomorrow's official test. But after all, there are only a few of them, and even if they are clumsy, they won't hide so much. With more than 50,000 qi and blood, see if there is such a monstrosity in Zhongling Province, it may even be difficult for Zhongling Province to find one. Therefore, Chen Xuan laughed, a little helplessly. So, it's just a gimmick. This is really helpless, and he would rather someone make him bleed profusely. Soon, Chen Xuanhei's words spread, and instantly caused shocks in all parties. But just as he thought, with such a high requirement, everyone can only be shocked. It is too difficult to get these rewards. At the same time, in room 1808 of Donghai Hotel, Su Mu lived in a single room. The room is large and luxuriously decorated, but Su Mu is not in the mood to enjoy it. As soon as he returned to the room and settled down, he immediately hung up the Do Not Disturb sign, sat cross-legged on the big bed, and began to study combat skills. Now, there is no follow-up training method, and no training resources. It is impossible to continue to break through, but you can still practice combat skills and improve combat power. He now has nearly 60,000 vitality and 600,000 combat power. That's strong enough, but it's not enough for Su Mu. His goal is not just warriors of the same age, but higher warriors, even generals. Just like today, facing the coercion of a strong general, he was like a lonely boat on the sea, which made him feel a deep sense of powerlessness. This feeling is very bad, so he wants to become stronger, and become stronger quickly at all costs. Unless on that day, he is invincible, his obsession will fade away. Of course, this is in Donghai City, on the territory of human beings, with their own rules, but Su Mu is not a person who likes to follow the rules. He also doesn't want to live under the rules established by others forever. He wants to become stronger, so strong that he doesn't need others to protect him, and he doesn't need to abide by other people's rules. After adjusting his state, as he began to comprehend, the familiar progress bar appeared again. The progress of comprehending the combat technique, Sky Breaker, 0.000001%. Fast forward and accelerate. Without hesitation, Su Mu began to fast forward again, double, quadruple, 8 times. He practiced his combat skills carefully before, for fear of passing out again. This time is naturally no exception, but the difference is that this time he fast-forwarded to 1024 times, and he still didn't feel dizzy. Su Mu continues to accelerate, 2048, 4096, 8192. Fast-forwarded to more than 8,000 times, and still didn't feel that way, but Su Mu herself didn't dare to increase it anymore. If he increases the fast-forward multiple, he is afraid that he will consume too much all of a sudden, and he will have to test it tomorrow. Fortunately, not long after, the familiar feeling of dizziness and brain swelling hit again, and the progress of comprehension has finally increased to 120%, which is a realm beyond the perfection of combat skills. Then, Su Mu got up. There is still some time, go to test it, and get familiar with the new combat skills by the way. The boxing technique he has been using before, now changed to the spear technique. There will naturally be some difficulties, even if he has comprehended the combat skills to the realm of transformation. Of course, the most important thing is that he also wants to see how much the mysterious high-grade combat skills of this transformation realm have increased. The Huang-level high-grade combat skills used before have already achieved a 9-fold increase in transformation, and now they have fully increased by a large level, reaching the mysterious level high-grade. How much can there be? Su Mu lives on the top floor of Donghai Hotel. There is no place to practice boxing in this hotel. Tomorrow is the official test, and many apprentices will not practice this night. What can change in one night? Except Su Mu. So, Su Mu came out of the room, and the corridor was quiet. It's not easy for him to make a sound, nor can he test his strength in the room. This room is not made of alloy, and even if it is made of alloy, with his current combat power, it can cause great damage. So, he had no choice but to tiptoe out of the room, through the corridor, and finally through the fire exit, to the rooftop. Fortunately, the rooftop is also quiet, and there is no one else. Su Mu breathed a sigh of relief, and looked up at the boundless starry sky. Compared with this vast starry sky, it is easy to feel a sense of insignificance. At this moment, Su Mu is full of high spirits. Warriors should conquer the world. In the next second, he looked up at the boundless starry sky. Not only did he not feel small, but he was full of fighting spirit, and his blood was soaring. In just a blink of an eye, Su Mu's blood boiled, and his aura reached its peak. Then he raised his hand to point to the gun, and pointed out. There was a buzzing sound, and it seemed that infinite power had gathered between him, and he went straight to the starry sky. There is no previous terrifying air explosion sound, because the power is concentrated at one point. After pointing out this point, a shooting star seemed to appear in the sky, and it went away in an instant. Over 1,000,000. Su Mu frowned slightly, and he felt it. This pointed out that the combat power has directly increased from 600,000 combat power to more than 1,000,000. Sure enough, it is worthy of being a mysterious high-grade combat skill, this increase, 20 times. Su Mu herself was speechless. But it's normal, the top-grade mysterious level combat skills are only a tier lower than the prefecture level combat skills, and the prefecture level combat skills start with a 20-fold increase. He has cultivated the top-grade mysterious level combat skills to the transformation level. If he doesn't even have a 20-fold increase, then it can't be justified. Moreover, he used his fingers to cast the heaven-breaking gun. If he used a real gun, his combat power should have increased. At this moment, Su Mu only felt a sharp pain in his fingertips, and his skin that had been tempered 9 times actually felt this way. Su Mu shook his head. For marksmanship, you still have to use a gun, and you can't get a gun at night, but don't worry, tomorrow is just a blood test. Su Mu quickly left the rooftop and was about to go back to rest. But as soon as he left, a figure appeared on the rooftop silently. It was Commander Wang, the commander of the guards of Donghai City who had stopped Wang Yang and Zheng Shangdong before. At this moment, his face was full of suspicion. Didn't someone do it? His mission is to maintain the safety of Donghai City, and his focus recently is to maintain order, prohibiting strong men from all sides from taking action in Donghai, and of course protecting these apprentices is also the top priority. Therefore, he didn't leave Donghai Hotel too far at all. Just now, he obviously felt the violent fluctuations, and thought that another old guy who was not open-eyed had made a move. But as soon as he arrived, he didn't find any trace of hands-on action, and when he approached here, he glanced at it, and seemed to see a familiar voice. He frowned tightly. Who was that just now? Commander Wang got up and walked around. This fluctuation has at least 1,000,000 combat power. This is the only conclusion he has come to. Soon, he reviewed all the people he had met today. In the next second, his eyes widened. Looks like that little guy from Donglai City. Impossible. The next second, he shook his head violently. But as a strong military commander, he has such a keen sense, even if it is just a glimpse, the opponent's back is deeply imprinted in his eyes. In this comparison, it is not Su Mu. Even if he only met Su Mu once. This night is destined to be a restless night. Some people look forward to it, some people are nervous, and some people don't feel sleepy at all. For example, the Dutong mansion is still brightly lit. Of course, at their level, it doesn't make much difference whether they sleep or not. Chen Xuan, the governor of Donghai City, asked people to let him go and proposed an extremely attractive reward, but the conditions were also very strict. In a short period of time, it caused quite a stir in all parties. But he had no hope at all. Because the conditions are indeed too difficult, and such conditions are placed in such a large area as Zhongling province, there may not be a few who can achieve them. What's more, it's just Donghai City. Dutong, my subordinates seek to see you. Just when Chen Xuanhei's mood was soaring and his mood was complicated, Commander Wang came. Commander Wang, it's so late, why are you looking for me? Dutong, there's something I don't know if I should say it or not. Commander Wang hesitated for a moment, but spoke anyway. If he really read it correctly, then the conditions proposed by Chen Xuan may not be met by anyone. Are you being polite to me? Just say it, Chen Xuan said. Hearing this, Commander Wang gritted his teeth and told the story. What? 1,000,000 combat power. After listening, Chen Xuan immediately stood up. Are you sure you read it right? Commander Wang frowned. Dutong, although my subordinates are not talented, I think I can see it right, even if it's just a glimpse. Chen Xuanhei's eyes lit up instantly, and he rummaged through the information on the desktop. You said this Su Mu is from Donglai City. That's right, because Wang Yang and Zheng Shangdong had a dispute today. Because of Su Mu, Zheng Shangdong also came to you to surrender, right? With Commander Wang's reminder, Chen Xuan came back to his senses. There is such a thing. Zheng Shangdong is here. I told him to leave. I will deal with him afterward. If you dare to attack the apprentice, you will die. But in the next second, Chen Xuan, who was looking for information, suddenly raised his head. You mean that Zheng Shangdong used coercion to intimidate Su Mu? Yes, Commander Wang continued. Although it was only for a moment, Wang Yang blocked most of the coercion, but Su Mu should have been affected a little, but he still stood upright. You, Chen Xuan smiled wryly and shook his head. You don't tell me such a big thing. How many apprentices have you seen who can still stand under the threat of strong generals? I was negligent. Commander Wang was also stunned. He really didn't pay much attention to this before. Found it. At this moment, Chen Xuan dug up the data submitted by Donglai City. He took a closer look, but his brows furrowed instantly. To be precise, Chen Xuan was stunned the moment he saw the data. Because in the data submitted by Donglai City, Su Mu's data is blank, and the reason is written later. The reason was that the test equipment in Donglai City was broken and Su Mu's data could not be tested. Supervisor Liu, who was in charge of the supervision, proposed to replace the initial test with coercion. Go and call Supervisor Liu. Chen Xuan immediately gave the order, and the staff immediately went to Inspector Liu. The instrument is broken. Donglai City's instrument is really old, and it should be replaced, but it's not to the point of blowing up a few people after testing it. Chen Xuan shook his head slightly. Now he really wanted to know if the instrument was really broken, or because Su Mu's qi and blood were too high and exceeded the upper limit too much, which caused the instrument to break. Not long after, Supervisor Liu hurried over. Dutong, Commander Wang. Don't be too polite, let me ask you, what's the matter with the initial test data of Donglai City? Chen Xuan asked directly. Hearing this, Supervisor Liu naturally understood, and told the story directly. After listening, Chen Xuan was silent. Undoubtedly, it has been confirmed that Donglai City was not broken by the instrument itself, but that Su Mu's vitality was too high, and it was destroyed. So, this guy's qi and blood must be above 10,000. Chen Xuan was a little excited. No, it's more than that. Is there any hope to reach 50,000? Millions of combat strength. If it's an Earth-level combat skill for cultivation, with a 20-fold increase, then the basic vitality will be 50,000. Chen Xuan came to many conclusions just by simple calculations. Of course, there is still a long way to go from the truth. Earth-level combat skills. Does Wang Yang have any? But then, Chen Xuan shook his head fiercely. Wang Yang should have no problem with mysterious level combat skills, but the number of prefecture level combat skills is not much, and the value is extremely expensive, which is not something ordinary people can get. But if there is no prefecture level combat skills, how can Su Mu achieve millions of combat power? Could it be that his basic vitality is more than 50,000, or even 100,000? Chen Xuan shook his head again. Impossible. What is the limit of qi and blood for a warrior in the first stage? It is impossible to reach 100,000. Chen Xuan was stupefied, and Commander Wang and Supervisor Liu beside him also widened their eyes when they heard his analysis. It seems that no matter how you calculate it, it is unreasonable. In the next second, Chen Xuan shook his head directly. Forget it, no matter what the specific situation is, this little guy shouldn't be simple. That's what he wanted, no matter how Su Mu did it. In short, at this moment, Chen Xuanhei's hope has been ignited again. It is a good thing if there are apprentices who can meet the conditions, he said. Commander Wang, are you ready to divide into groups tomorrow? Then, Chen Xuan asked again. Yes, we have divided them up. There are a total of 9,763 people. There are 10 people in a group. A separate group with more than 10,000 vitality and blood. There are 10 people in total. They use special equipment with a limit of 100,000 calories. Commander Wang replied immediately. Chen Xuan nodded. Assign this Su Mu to the first group, which is the group with over 10,000 vitality. Yes, Commander Wang took the order, but then, he showed embarrassment again. It's just that the little guys in the first group are all geniuses and evildoers, and they care about rankings. Su Mu can only be ranked 11th. When Chen Xuan heard this, he frowned. No, put it in the third place, and the others go to the back row. The original third place was Liu Baosai. Commander Wang reminded. Liu Baosai, his father, Liu Fugi, was the chief treasurer of the Donghai City Treasury. In short, he was in charge of money. Their family is also very rich and has run many businesses. This Liu Baosai's talent is not weak, and he is very vindictive. He takes these false names very seriously. This arrangement is obviously to provoke hatred for Su Mu. But Chen Xuan grinned. This effect is what we want. In addition, they use coercion with each other, and don't even interfere too much with their hands. All right, Commander Wang suddenly felt dizzy. He is a commander who maintains order, but now he is disrupting order and deliberately provoking trouble. Early the next morning, Su Mu and Lu Fengfei came down from upstairs. Wang Yang and the remaining Donglai city warriors were already waiting here. Seeing the two coming down, Wang Yang quickly called Su Mu over. I'll just wait for the two of you, we're going to gather soon, I have a few things to tell you. With that said, Wang Yang took out a stack of materials and handed the front one to Su Mu. Take a good look. This is the top 100 genius information in Donghai City. It may be helpful to you. Su Mu took it over and saw that there were many apprentices' information recorded on it. The first place, Mo Lingyun, the son of the master of the number 1 Martial Hall in the East China Sea. The initial test result is 14,000 calories, 5 exercises and 7 levels. Note, suspected to hide his strength. The second place, Chen Tianxi, the nephew of the governor of Donghai City. The initial test results of 13,800 calories and blood, 5 exercises and 7 heavy exercises. Note, suspected to hide his strength. The third place, Liu Baosai, the nephew of Liu Fugi, the treasurer of Donghai City, had a preliminary test result of 13,000 calories of energy and blood, 5 exercises and 7 exercises. Su Mu just glanced at it and lost interest. Not to mention whether the information is accurate or not, even if it is accurate, he doesn't care. Because the current Su Mu no longer focuses on the mere Donghai City. From the moment he woke up and fast-forwarded, he knew that he was destined to go to a higher and bigger platform. If it weren't for the fact that taking the test is the only way to go up, he wouldn't even bother to take it. Seeing that Su Mu didn't care about these so-called evil geniuses in Donghai City, Wang Yang wasn't angry either. The more Su Mu is like this, it means that he has more confidence. Why should he be angry? Then, Wang Yang said, "You may not know that Chen Dutong sent someone to send a message to the city lords last night." When Wang Yang talked about the reward given by Chen Xuan, Su Mu's eyes lit up, who was not interested in it at first. Where is the blood pool? A good place. It was originally used to extract the blood of monsters for experiments, but it was discarded later. However, the energy accumulated in it is very large, even for general-level powerhouses. Of course, the blood in that place is very violent, and it is difficult to refine it, but generally speaking, it is of great benefit to warriors of the three major realms of warriors, and generals. Following Wang Yang's explanation, everyone understood what the qi and blood pool was. Simply put, it is a treasure. It is full of qi and blood energy. As long as you are not afraid of being affected by your sanity, and you are not afraid of being exploded, it is a treasured place for cultivation. As for the leaking spear and earth-level combat skills later on, there is no need to explain them, they are all good things. For example, the leaking blood spear is actually a top-grade Zon-level weapon. The imported weapons are not simple. The alloy gloves that Su Mu used before can't even enter the grade. This comparison shows the gap. As for the ground-level combat skills, that's what Su Mu desires. Now that he has cultivated mysterious-level combat skills, the increase has reached 20 times, and the upper limit of Earth-level combat skills is even higher. If he gets it, his strength will increase by leaps and bounds again. Okay, just listen to these rewards, even Dutong himself said it, this is a gimmick. Wang Yang waved his hand. Su Mu is strong, but he doesn't think Su Mu can meet the conditions that Chen Xuan said. What's more than 50,000 cards of vitality? What's about 1,000,000 combat power? What's about killing a martial artist 9th level monster? That is simply not something that warriors in the first stage can do. After finishing speaking, Wang Yang took everyone out first, and soon it was time for the group test, so there was no delay. But just after leaving the house, Su Mu leaned over to Wang Yang's side. "City Master, can you do me a favor? You say, buy me an alloy long spear. If you change your combat skills, you have to change your weapons too." After Su Mu finished speaking, Wang Yang nodded casually. "It's a small matter, you can go to the test at ease, and I promise that after the test today, the spear will be delivered to you." But just after he finished speaking, Wang Yang suddenly stopped in his tracks, and turned his head to look at Su Mu with a bewildered expression. "You mean, hey, don't tell me if you see through." Su Mu grinned. Wang Yang took a deep breath and was beyond shocked. Yesterday, he just gave Su Mu his fighting skills, and Su Mu understood the fighting skills in one night. He still doesn't know that Su Mu has not only comprehended it, but also achieved a state of transformation that almost no one can achieve in the legend. A high-grade mysterious-level combat skill, which has entered the realm of transformation, has increased by 20 times. If Wang Yang found out, he might collapse. He also practiced the combat skill of breaking the sky. Although he usually doesn't use a gun at all, it's because he doesn't have much chance to use a gun when he comes back as the city lord. He is a master of the gun. It was practiced from the dead. But his breaking the sky is only a great achievement, with an increase of less than 18 times. My mother. Wang Yang's face was dark and ugly. A second ago, he said to tell Su Mu not to think about it, just listen to the rewards that were all mentioned, but in the blink of an eye, it seemed that there was a little hope again. Even if it's just for beginners, the combat skill of breaking the sky has increased by more than 10 times. Even if it is 15 times, if Su Mu has 60,000 qi and blood, he may not be able to reach 1,000,000 combat power. Wang Yang shook his head severely. He was afraid to talk to Su Mu anymore. Who knows when this fool will swell his old face again. In Donghai City, there is a huge square. 10 houses are temporarily built on the square, and this is the location of the test. This time, there are more than 9,000 students in Donghai City, nearly 10,000 people. With so many people testing together, it is natural to group them. The first is to divide into 10 large groups. Each group has 1,000 people, and the last group has less than 1,000 people. These 10 groups were further divided into 100 groups, each group consisted of 10 people. At this moment, apprentices from the 19 cities under the jurisdiction of Donghai City, as well as Donghai City itself, arrived one after another. A projection actually appeared above the square. At this moment, what is displayed on the projection is the grouping situation. The first group, number 1 Mo Lingyun, number 2 Chen Tianxi, number 3 Su Mu, number 4 Lu Baosai. Everyone arrives at the designated location according to the group. At this moment, the voice of the commander of the city guard king spread everywhere. One tester for each large group, starting with the largest serial number in the group, and ending with number 1. After the voice fell, everyone started to act, each found the corresponding group and prepared to conduct the test. At the entrance of the square, Wang Yang sent Su Mu and others to the entrance and stopped. On the square, only the apprentices who participated in the hall test can enter, and the city lords who lead the teams in each city cannot enter. Of course, Wang Yang and others will also watch. They have received the invitation long ago and built a wide stand on the top of a tall building next to the square. Anyway, during the test, the specific test results of each person will be displayed through the projection above the square. Okay, let's go in. Many people should have improved last night, and it's too late for those who haven't improved. Wang Yang waved his hand. No matter what the result is, don't give up easily. The road to martial arts is all about persistence. After speaking, led by Su Mu, a group of people stepped into the square after verifying their identities. Entering the square, Su Mu and others were immediately attracted. Brother Mu, you were actually assigned to the first group, and ranked 3rd. Soon, Zhao Gang and others discovered the information displayed on the projection. Su Mu is impressively in the first group, number 3. Su Mu frowned slightly. What's the matter, isn't it a random group? Not random, but Lu Fengfei, who knows Tangche better, said. The groups are grouped according to the results of the preliminary test. The instruments used in the first group are different from those of the other large groups. Those who participated in the test in the first group were all ranked in the top 1000 in blood strength. And the fact is the same as what Lu Fengfei said. Su Mu is in the first group of the first group. And Lu Fengfei was in the 8th group of the 9th group, and several others were assigned to the 9th and 10th groups of the 10th group, which was the last group. Su Mu frowned. He failed the initial test, but was allowed to take the test by releasing his energy and blood. But now, he was actually placed in 3rd place in the first group of the first group. Although it didn't say clearly that this was the ranking, it was obvious that everyone thought so. Who is Su Mu? Several people were talking, when a cold snort came. Su Mu and the others looked back, and saw a fat and white young man in Chinese clothes walking over, glancing at Su Mu and the others with cold eyes. This chubby boy was naturally Lu Baosai, who should have been ranked 3rd. As soon as he entered the square, he was told that he had been squeezed out of the 3rd place. After making inquiries, Su Mu, who replaced him, actually came from Donglai City, the weakest city. The most important thing is that the other party did not have the preliminary test results. Immediately, a wave of evil fire came up from Lu Baosai. The enraged Lu Baosai rushed towards the place where several people in Donglai City were. Hearing Lu Baosai's words, Su Mu and others frowned. Especially Su Mu, who guessed the reason after just a little thought. Lu Baosai was supposed to be 3rd, but now Su Mu is 3rd, and Lu Baosai is 4th. Obviously, someone did this on purpose, and it was causing him hatred. But Su Mu didn't care. Seeing Lu Baosai approaching angrily, he also snorted, "I am." "You, very good. Do you know who I am?" Lu Baosai looked directly at Su Mu, full of anger. "Let me take the place behind Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi. I will accept. These two fools are very strong. I can't afford to mess with them. But who are you, Su Mu?" Su Mu frowned, but remained calm. "This sort of grouping has nothing to do with me." "Irrelevant. Thank you for having the face to say it. You, a guy who didn't get any grades in the first test, why are you ranked 3rd? How dare you say it's irrelevant?" Lu Baosai crossed his hips, almost roaring and criticizing Su Mu. This scene immediately attracted the attention of many apprentices nearby. Seeing that it was Lu Baosai, a group of people also retreated one after another. Apparently, a lot of people know this guy. But Lu Baosai was aggressive, and Su Mu was also angry. He took a step directly and approached Lu Baosai. What do you want? How? I want you to know the consequences of offending me, Lu Baosai. As soon as Lu Baosai's words fell, the energy and blood in his body surged, and a powerful coercion was instantly condensed, and he went straight to Su Mu and others. But in the next second, Lu Baosai only felt a pressure that was much stronger than him rushing towards him in an instant. Go away. If you mess with me again, don't blame me for being rude. Su Mu shouted loudly. Thumb up. Lu Baosai's face changed drastically in an instant, and he looked at Su Mu in disbelief. In terms of aura pressure, he is not as good as Su Mu. In the entire Donghai city, he was almost recognized as the third place, except for the 2 old silver coins Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi. He refused to accept anyone. But now, he was forced to retreat by an unknown apprentice. The most important thing is that the other party is only from the small place of Donglai city. Not only Lu Baosai was shocked, except for Lu Fengfei and other apprentices in Donglai city, everyone else's eyes widened at this moment, with expressions of disbelief. Su Mu, where did the genius come from? So strong. It's actually stronger than Lu Baosai, and it's normal to be ranked third. It seems that Su Mu's third place is well deserved. Hearing these discussions, Lu Baosai's face completely darkened. And at this moment, the warriors in charge of order of the city guards rushed over quickly. What happened? It's okay, it's just a little thing. Lu Baosai quickly replied with a smile. His face was so dark that ink could drip out, and the only thing he felt was embarrassment. It's too shameful. He is a well-known genius in Donghai city, and now he is forced to retreat by Su Mu in full view. After dissuading the guards from the city guards, he gave Su Mu a hard look. Su Mu, I remember you. See you later in the test hall. You wanna die? Su Mu snorted coldly and took another step. Lu Baosai was forced to retreat again. Lu Baosai's face was livid, and he took advantage of the situation to turn around and leave without stopping. Brother Mu, are you okay? After Lu Baosai left, Zhao Gang and the others breathed a sigh of relief and asked with concern. Su Mu shook her head, not caring much at all. Don't worry about me, take care of yourselves, no one can do anything to me here. Su Mu has this confidence, a mere Lu Baosai is nothing at all. Even the 2 so-called Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi who concealed their strength, Su Mu didn't care. This was just a small episode, and it was quickly regarded as a talking point by everyone. Su Mu also came into the eyes of many apprentices in East Sea City because of her ranking and the forced dismissal of Lu Baosai. But at this moment, after Lu Baosai left, he couldn't settle down. He was walking around in the square. It has to be said that, relying on his father's status, he is very popular, and wherever he goes, people take the initiative to greet him. There is no way. His father is the head of the treasury, all the cities under the jurisdiction of Donghai City, and even the major families of Donghai City, all depend on his father's face. Of course, Lu Baosai didn't walk around casually. He was ashamed just now, so he didn't have the heart to show his eyes around. He murmured a few words in a low voice beside a young man, who nodded, and glanced at Su Mu intentionally or unintentionally. This situation happened 6 times before and after. If you observe carefully, you will find that the 6 people he just found are all ranked 5th to 10th in the first group and the first group. Then, Lu Baosai walked to the door of the test hall of the first group. At this moment, the test has not officially started, and the gate is guarded by a strong martial artist from the city guards. When Lu Baosai arrived, the martial artist in charge of guarding him greeted Lu Baosai politely. Lu Baosai leaned over and handed over an elixir indiscriminately. Uncle, how about doing me a favor? The guard froze for a moment, then put away the elixir, and said with a low laugh. You say yes, as long as you don't violate the rules. Don't worry, I won't make it difficult for Uncle. In this way, after our group enters later, don't rush to project, I have some personal matters to attend to. As soon as Lu Baosai said this, the guard immediately frowned. Baosai, this. He is a guard and has participated in the test work many times, so he naturally knows what Lu Baosai wants to do. There are a large number of guards on the square to maintain order, and although there are no guards in the test hall, every group will project after entering. Lu Baosai asked him to delay the projection, obviously wanting to do something shady. But before the guard refused, Lu Baosai handed over another pill. Uncle, Don't worry, I won't make it too difficult for you. I have my own measure, just a minute. Hearing this, the guard nodded. Also at this moment, the voice of Commander Wang of the City Guard Army suspended in the air came again. The apprentices of each group were lined up and ready to start the test. All the apprentices who participated in the test began to line up in groups, ready to start the test in order. The 10th group of each group will be tested first, and the first group will be tested last. The same is true in the group, the 10th is the first and the first is the last. While the apprentices were lining up, on the top of the building next to the square, the governor Chen Xuan was looking at the square below with anticipation. He also saw the conflict between Lu Baosai and Su Mu just now. Even if he was far away, as long as he wanted, he could see the small movements of any apprentice. It's interesting, this little guy probably has tempered a lot of times, and the first level actually forced Lu Baosai back from the 5th level and 7th level. This was the first time Chen Xuan saw Su Mu, but he was very satisfied. Su Mu is obviously only at the first stage, but he doesn't know the specific number of tempering times. And Lu Baosai's information is basically accurate. 5 forging refers to 5 times of tempering, and 7th level refers to the 7th level of martial artist. 5 forged and 7 heavy, it's not weak anymore, even in the entire Zhongling province. But it's not enough. It's no problem to enter the top 10 martial palaces, but it's far from enough to enter the Great Tang Martial Palace. While Chen Xuan murmured, the staff came over. Dutong, the masters of the major martial arts halls and cities have arrived. Chen Xuan did not answer directly, but asked another question, has Master Hu come? The staff shook his head. I didn't come, and the invitations I sent were also confiscated. Okay, don't worry about it. Chen Xuan nodded. Let them in. Immediately afterwards, a group of people walked in and took their seats. Those who can come to the top floor to watch the test are naturally the powerful people from all sides in Donghai City, including the city lords of 19 cities and the heads of various departments in Donghai City. Dutong, I made you laugh. A group of people sat down, and a fat middle-aged man spoke directly. He is naturally Lu Baosai's father, Lu Fugi. Hey, what are you talking about, rich and noble, who hasn't been young, normal? Chen Xuan waved his hand. Of course he would not say that this was arranged on purpose by him. Lu Fugi clasped his fists again and retreated. Everyone, this year's test has started, are you interested in making an offer? Chen Xuan continued to speak. Everyone immediately looked at each other in blank dismay. Usually, Chen Xuan expressly forbids all strong players from participating in this kind of bet, but today he directly organized everyone to open the market. Before everyone came back to their senses, Chen Xuan continued. Just bet on the first place candidate. In this way, everyone bets on a bottle of body tempering pill, and the winner will share equally. As soon as the words came out, everyone nodded, and immediately a staff member came up to take notes. I bet on the first place, Mo Lingyun. I bet on Chen Tianxi. Mo Lingyun, Chen Tianxi. Everyone bet one after another, either Mo Lingyun or Chen Tianxi, because these two apprentices were almost recognized as the strongest apprentices. Mo Lingyun was slightly stronger in the preliminary test, but in fact both of them had hidden strengths. How exactly will be known after testing. In short, these two are the most popular candidates to win the championship. Soon, almost everyone had placed their bets, and there were only 2 people left who hadn't placed their bets. One was Dutong Chen Xuan himself, and the other was Wang Yang, who was at the end and had almost no sense of presence. City Lord Wang, don't you place a bet? Chen Xuan looked at Wang Yang with a smile. Wang Yang stood up and hugged his fist. If you want to step down, Dutong, can you discuss it? Upon hearing Wang Yang's words, Zheng Shangdong sarcastically said, why, no money to bet? Isn't it? It really is. Wang Yang was not angry either, and replied with a smile. My lord, can I borrow some money? Now, even Chen Xuanhei's face turned dark, and he glared at Wang Yang angrily. How much do you want to borrow? Not much, 10 bottles of body tempering pill. As soon as Wang Yang opened his mouth, Chen Xuan immediately understood what Wang Yang was thinking. This fool wanted to bet on Su Mu, and not 1 bet, but 10 bets. It's darker than him. He only wanted to use Su Mu to slaughter this group of subordinates for a fortune, but Wang Yang was lucky. As soon as he came, he got 10 bottles. Now, almost everyone is betting on Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi, and then only Wang Yang and him will be betting on Su Mu. Originally, he had also thought about it, Wang Yang and him would share equally, but he didn't expect that Wang Yang even wanted to cheat him. In the next second, Chen Xuan waved his hand, and a bottle of pill flew directly in front of Wang Yang. No more, just one bottle. Alright, then I'll bet on Su Mu. Wang Yang had no choice but to do so. But as soon as he spoke, everyone at the scene looked over. Su Mu, many of them have never heard of it, is obviously Wang Yang's Donglai City apprentice. The only person who knew Su Mu was Zheng Shangdong, but he didn't think Su Mu could be better than Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi. Then a group of people spoke one after another. Old Wang, you are already poor, but you still give us money, we feel really sorry. That's right, everyone understands your desire to support your younger generation, but you can't treat money as money. Old Wang, don't be fooled, a body tempering pill is worth a lingxi, even if you have money, you can't buy it. While everyone was persuading, Wang Yang stood up and cupped his fists one by one. Thank you for your kindness, just treat it as me giving you money. A group of people shook their heads one after another, knowing Wang Yang's personality, they didn't bother to continue persuading him. Then, only Chen Xuan, the governor, was left, and everyone was paying attention. Seeing everyone looking over, Chen Xuan smiled, I bet on Su Mu. Swish. As soon as these words came out, many bigwigs stood up one after another, even Wang Yang. Sit down, can I support the weakest Donglai city? Chen Xuan snorted coldly, and the group of people sat back full of suspicion. Wang Yang frowned slightly, as if he understood why Su Mu was assigned to a group. In the next second, above the square, Commander Wang's voice sounded again. I announce that this year's test has officially started, I wish everyone good luck. The test has officially started. 10 groups, the 10th group of each group entered the test hall. Immediately afterwards, 10 pictures appeared one after another in the sky above the square, showing the situation in the test hall. The purpose of building the test hall is to not interfere with the test apprentices, and the projection display information is for everyone to see and supervise together. Soon, the first wave of testing began. The first wave of testing began, and the difference can be clearly seen. The first group, even the 10th group, the worst one has about 4,000 calories of blood. But when it came to the 10th group, the first testers almost didn't even have 200 calories, and they were eliminated on the spot. This is the gap. Those who can be divided into the first group are almost all from Donghai City and other big cities, and there are very few people from small cities. There is no way, the larger the city, the larger the population, the larger the base. At the same time, because the city is large and the resources are abundant, the cultivation of talents is more intensive. Of course, a small town also has the advantages of a small town, that is, there are fewer people, and the distribution of resources is relatively fairer. The blood test is also very fast, and everyone can do it in a few seconds. The instrument quickly displayed the value of the apprentice's vitality and blood tested one by one, and then displayed it synchronously through the projection. For a time, some people were pleasantly surprised, while others were disappointed. In the queue, some people who haven't tested it yet are uneasy. Of course, the stronger the apprentices in the future, the more competitive they will be. The reason why the strong ones are put behind is for the finale. But at the moment, the first group is not yet the turn of Su Mu's first group. The 10 people in the first group are all quiet at the moment, and no one is arguing again. All eyes are on the overhead projection. Even if these Tianzhao look down on those who are weaker than them, they still need to pay attention to their respective friends and partners, as well as their respective forces. Su Mu is watching too. The few people from Donglai, except him and Lu Fangfei, were almost all in the 10th group of the 10th group. Soon the results came out. Li Yiren from Donglai City, the young owner of Li's martial arts school, with 180 cards, was eliminated on the spot. Zhang Jie, Yang's martial arts club, has 200 cards and is qualified to enter the martial arts hall. Zhao Gang in the Zhao family martial arts club actually reached 200 calories. As for Lu Fangfei, the result came out a little later, with 450 calories of energy and blood. The appearance of Lu Fangfei surprised Donglai City a little. So, except for Su Mu who has not yet been tested, all 8 apprentices in Donglai City have completed the test. The result was better than expected. Zhao Gang and Zhang Jie, the 3 people with more than 200 cards, have just logged in, but they also have the qualifications to go to the martial arts hall. And Lu Fangfei has reached 450 calories, and has the qualifications to enter the Wu Pavilion. Time passed quickly, and it was almost in the afternoon. Most of the students had finished the test, and there were only 1 or 2 groups left in each large group. This is also the most exciting part of the test. In the first group where Su Mu and others belonged, there were only 10 people left in their first group. Finally it was Su Mu's turn. The first group had just finished testing, and Lu Baosai was the first to walk towards the testing hall. At the door, he turned his head and looked at the guard at the door, and then stepped into the hall. Immediately afterwards, other people entered one after another. Although Su Mu ranked 3rd, he did not compete with others, so he was the last one to enter. As soon as he entered, he instantly felt several coercion rushing towards him. Su Mu raised her brows. "You're courting death." Su Mu knew what happened without even thinking about it. Lu Baosai. And it's not just Lu Baosai alone, it's obvious that he has connected with other people to attack him together. He didn't use his full strength outside before, but he just pushed Lu Baosai back. Unexpectedly, this fool not only didn't restrain himself, but pressed him every step of the way. Su Mu also made a real fire this time. In the next second, his blood surged, and his coercion condensed and he recoiled in an instant. Boom! The terrifying coercion spread, and the first apprentice who bore the brunt was directly crushed to the ground, followed by the second and third. When Su Mu took a step forward, one of his apprentices was directly crushed to the ground. What about the top 10 Tianzhao in Donghai City? In front of Su Mu, he was still like a chicken and a dog, lying on the ground in the blink of an eye. In just a few steps, all 6 apprentices got down on the ground, leaving only Lu Baosai who was completely stunned in place, and the 2 who stood by and watched coldly. Mo Lingyun ranked 1st in Donghai City, and Chen Tianxi ranked 2nd. But these 2 people are not calm at this moment. Even if they are cold-eyed, they look at Su Mu full of shock. They naturally knew about Su Mu and Lu Baosai before, but they didn't care at all. From their point of view, neither Lu Baosai nor Su Mu had a huge gap with them, and they did not pose any threat to them at all. The opponent of these 2 people is each other, there is no other third person. But at this moment, after Su Mu's coercion directly crushed the 6 people, the 2 were no longer calm. The next second, Su Mu took another step, and let out a cold snort. "Get down." Boom! The coercion swept away. Lu Baosai clenched his teeth and wanted to hold on. Plop! It's a pity that he didn't hold on for even half a second, and was forced to lie down directly. Su Mu took another step. Most of the coercion was concentrated on Lu Baosai, his eyes were cold. Getting ahead. Do you really think I'm an apprentice in Donglai City so easy to bully? After the words fell, Lu Baosai was completely pressed to the ground and couldn't move, even his teeth were chattering non-stop. Lu Baosai was terrified in his heart. He thought that even if Su Mu was strong, he was only slightly stronger than him. So he contacted the remaining 6 people, wanting to teach Su Mu a lesson. In his opinion, no matter how strong Su Mu is, can he stop 6 people from attacking at the same time? Unfortunately, he underestimated Su Mu too much, and overestimated himself and the other 6. "I surrender." Lu Baosai blushed, almost roaring out. He is also one of the well-known talents in Donghai City. It is not easy for him to shout out the words "admit defeat." But today, he had to admit defeat. If he doesn't admit defeat, he will soon be even more ashamed. Now, according to the agreement between him and the guard, the other party has not projected yet, but once projected, he will be ashamed and thrown to his grandma's house in his current state. Admit defeat. It's too late. Su Mu snorted coldly and ignored it at all. Even if it consumes energy and blood, so what if it affects the performance of the test later? Su Mu didn't want to cause trouble at first, and he just forced Lu Baosai to retreat before, but it didn't mean he was afraid of trouble. Wang Yang also told him that as long as it is within the rules, just one word, do it. Of course, the premise of doing it is to keep a little behindhand, and never let all the whole cards be exposed. At the moment, Su Mu uses up to 40,000 qi and blood, and he still has a lot of energy to spare. Seeing that Su Mu didn't take back the coercion, Lu Baosai became anxious, and shouted at the two people who were still in shock. When are you two going to see it? Cough, Brother Su, can you take care of Chen? Chen Tianxi is the nephew of the governor Chen Xuan. He was about to speak to persuade. The next second, Su Mu turned his head. Roll, boom, accompanied by Su Mu's stern shout, unexpectedly a wave of coercion went straight to Chen Tianxi. Chen Tianxi's expression changed, and he quickly backed away. It's not that he thinks he is inferior to Su Mu, but that he doesn't want to waste any energy on this matter. Because until now, his opponent is still Mo Lingyun, not Su Mu. Su Mu is strong, he sensed it, but that was compared to Lu Baosai and others. Chen Tianxi backed away with a dark face. Mo Lingyun frowned. This brother, please forgive me. Boom. What responded to him was also a coercion. Su Mu is too lazy to talk nonsense with them, just a little, do it or get out. Mo Lingyun's expression turned cold, and he also backed away. His thinking was the same as Chen Tianxi's, and he didn't waste any energy on this matter. The two chose to quit one after another, but they already hated Su Mu. In Donghai City, not to mention apprentices of the same age, even the elders are polite to them when they see them. But Su Mu not only didn't give the slightest face, but also started directly. In the next second, a ray of light spread out in the hall, and the projection started. Lu Baosai collapsed immediately, and lowered his head with a look of hopelessness. The same is true for several others. Any one of them is a well-known Tianzhao in Donghai City, but at this moment, they are crushed to the ground in a miserable state, as if they are giving a big gift to Su Mu. Shame, still shame on your own territory. And almost at the same time, when the group projection of the most concerned Su Mu and others appeared, the outside world immediately went into an uproar. The projection presented in front of everyone outside is very strange. The 10 strongest geniuses are now divided into 3 groups. In the first round, Lu Baosai and the other 7 people were all lying on the ground unable to move, their faces on the ground, none of them had the face to look up, and they lost all the pride they had before. The second wave, Su Mu, stood alone among these 7 people, his body was surging, and he could see the air around him twisting. The third wave, quit Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi who were afraid of being involved. Such a scene that had never been seen before in the hall test appeared, and everyone on the scene was dumbfounded. On the square, all the students who had completed the test saw this scene. Even those who were about to test could not help but stop at this moment. Even the guards in charge of order were stunned at the moment, including the guard who promised Lu Baosai to delay the projection. In the sky above the square, Commander Wang, who was in charge of testing the order, also widened his eyes, looking at the projection with a dazed expression. And in the stands on the top of the high-rise buildings in the distance, a group of bigwigs from Donghai City were all stunned. In the next second, one after another exclamation came. What's the situation? One person coercing a group. This is Su Mu. Cover the contemporary world. Is the gap so big? How does he compare with Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi? This is the exclamation of many students on the square. There are also guards who are maintaining order at the scene. If their faces change, they will stop the projection. Presumptuous. But in the next second Commander Wang let out a cold snort, and the guard was directly lying on the ground and couldn't move. Immediately afterwards, on the stands on the top of the tall building next to it, several strong men's blood fluctuated, and their faces were ashen. They were the elders of one of the youngsters who was crushed on the ground. Their juniors are ashamed, and it is theirs who lose face. Especially Lu Fugi's face was completely dark at the moment. You are too much. But as soon as Lu Fugi spoke, Wang Yang stood up abruptly. Lu, how are you doing? Boom. The coercion of the two breaths collided instantly, and everyone around them had to retreat. Even Chen Xuan, the governor, was fooled at the moment. Seeing the conflict between Wang Yang and Lu Fugi at this moment, he just glanced over, and as soon as the aura dissipated, the two immediately calmed down. The test continues. Chen Xuanhei's indifferent voice spread. Hearing this, Commander Wang, who was floating above the square, understood, and fell directly to the entrance of a large group of test halls in a flash, and kicked the guards lying on the ground away with one kick. Come and watch, and deal with it later. After speaking, Commander Wang stepped into the hall. As soon as he entered, He glanced at Su Mu, who had no intention of restraining himself, with a strange expression, and then said calmly, "The test continues. Number 10. Swish." Hearing this, Su Mu took away the coercion against No. 10. Genius number 10 lowered his head, slowly got up from the ground, and came to the instrument like his dead parents, to infuse qi and blood. Boom. In the next second, the numbers on the display flickered, and the data came out, 8,090 cards. Number 10 didn't even raise his head to take a look at his own results, turned around and ran away in despair. The test continued, but the atmosphere on the scene was still extremely weird. Because Su Mu didn't let go of the others, and was still trying his best to maintain the coercion. Unleashing coercion would not consume too much blood under normal circumstances, but like Su Mu not only targeting multiple people, but also continuous coercion, it would consume a lot. But he just doesn't care. What is even more frustrating is that Chen Xuan, the governor, actually asked to continue the test, and did not stop Su Mu. As if to let people see this scene. As soon as the result came out, a high-level executive from Donghai City on the top floor turned pale, and almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. The number 10 who just tested is their junior. There should have been more than 9,000 calories of blood, but after such a fuss, it became more than 8,000 calories. Then, on the 9th test, Su Mu let him go. It was eerily quiet. Whenever Commander Wang calls a number, Su Mu releases a person. This is too weird. The most important thing is that a group of high-level powerhouses on the high platform were so aggrieved that they had the urge to kill Su Mu, but no one dared to move. In the end, some people couldn't stand it any longer. Dutong. No eyes. Chen Xuan frowned. I know you can't stand it, and I can't stand it, but you asked for it. Chen Xuanhei's voice turned cold. Then, no one said anything. Obviously, Chen Xuan did it on purpose, to support Su Mu to the end on purpose. As a result, the apprentices were pinned down by Su Mu one by one, and they were not let go until it was his turn to test. Finally, after Liu Baosai was released, he turned and left without even taking the test. Commander Wang scolded him angrily, so he turned around and took a symbolic test. As a result, Liu Baosai's qi and blood reached 13,000 calories. Liu Baosai also didn't look at his result, but turned his head and left. In the end, only Su Mu, Mo Lingyun, and Chen Tianxi were left in the testing hall. Number 3, Su Mu. Commander Wang's voice came. Su Mu grinned and cupped his hands at Commander Wang. Let the two of them test first, I'm afraid they won't be able to withstand the blow. Puff. Hearing this, the two almost vomited blood and glared at Su Mu. Su Mu frowned. Don't believe me. Okay, then I'll go first. After finishing the words, Su Mu walked directly to the instrument. But Commander Wang said, Chen Tianxi comes first, then Mo Lingyun, and finally Su Mu. As soon as the words came out, Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi both looked at Commander Wang. Although they didn't say anything, the meaning was very obvious. Why are they favoring Su Mu? Not convinced. Commander Wang snorted coldly. The two of you think highly of yourself, and each of you sees the other as an opponent, but Su Mu is currently exhausted. Are you sure you want him to take the test now? As soon as these words came out, Chen Tianxi took a deep breath. I'll do it. Chen Tianxi stepped out and came to the instrument. Su Mu didn't care. She just stepped back, sat down cross-legged beside her and began to recover. And Chen Tianxi was not in a hurry to test, but took a look at Su Mu. Brother Su, the past is easy to break, today, past. Su Mu ignored him at all, and Chen Tianxi was not angry, and then looked at Mo Lingyun. Brother Mo, you and I have been fighting for a long time, and finally this day has come. I won't hide my clumsiness anymore, I hope you will do your best. Mo Lingyun smiled and nodded. Brother Chen, please. The two of them had a great sense of heroism and cherished the heroism, and they had already ignored Su Mu in a blink of an eye. Su Mu is indeed very strong, but he is still not in the eyes of these two people. At this moment, everyone outside just breathed a sigh of relief, and became nervous again. For everyone, the contest between Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi was the highlight, the contest between the strongest geniuses. As for Su Mu, stunning is amazing enough, and it also slapped many Donghai people in the face. But after all, he is only from the small town of Donglai, how can he compare with these two true talents? At this moment, everyone's attention was on Chen Tianxi. Chen Tianxi took a deep breath, and the blood in his body finally surged crazily, and then he dropped his palm and put it on the instrument. Boom! In the next second, the display flickered, and the final number was fixed at 16,000 cards. Hiss, he's not at the 7th level of 5 training, but at the 8th level of 5 training. Sure enough, he has hidden his strength, and he has already reached the 8th level. Such a young 8th layer, and a 5 forged, the future is limitless. Everyone exclaimed at this moment. Although he knew that Chen Tianxi was hiding his strength, he was still shocked by the result. At a young age, only 17 or 18 years old, you have reached such a state. How high will you achieve in the future? No one knows. On the top of the building, a group of strong men, the atmosphere has eased a little at the moment. Congratulations Dutong. Tianxi really deserves to be one of the 2 great talents in the East China Sea. It's really extraordinary. The talent given by God is really not weak. At such a young age, he is at the 8th level of warrior, and the future is limitless. Everyone started to compliment Chen Xuan. Because Chen Tianxi is his own nephew. But Chen Xuan frowned slightly, as this also called a genius. It's just a 5 forged and 8 level realm, and even the Great Tang Martial Palace can't get in. In an instant, everyone was dumbfounded. This is true, but this is Donghai City, in Datang Mansion. No, even in Zhongling Province, it is the bottom city. It is already very good to have such a result. Unfortunately, no one dared to say anything. Datang Martial Mansion, there is only one huge Datang Mansion, which was established by the king of Tang Dynasty himself and served as the head of the mansion. It is the place where Datang Mansion cultivates future pillars. To enter the Datang Mansion, at least 50,000 calories of energy and blood are required. That is to say, there must be at least 6 refinements and 9 realms or above. 5 forgings, that is, each small realm needs to be tempered 5 times. The warrior's first stage has a basic blood of 2,000 calories, and each subsequent stage will increase by 2,000 calories. When it comes to the 5th forging and the 9th level, it is between 18,000 calories and 20,000 calories. And to reach 50,000 calories of blood, at least 6 forgings are required, and the basic blood is 5,000 calories. Only at the 9th level can one hope to reach 50,000 calories. This is the condition of the Great Tang Martial House. Anyone who can enter the Great Tang Martial House is an elite among the elites of the same generation. At the same time, Chen Tianxi stepped down from the testing equipment, very satisfied with the result. He cupped his hands at Mo Lingyun. Brother Mo, please. Mo Lingyun nodded calmly, and then stood in front of the tester. Everyone tensed up again. In the next second, as Mo Lingyun pressed his palm, the display flickered, and the tension reached its peak. 15,000, 16,000, 17,000. Mo Lingyun started with 15,000, and it is still increasing rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the data reached 18,000. Seeing this, everyone understood that the number 1 was Mo Lingyun's. In the end, the data stayed at 18,000. Mo Lingyun calmly withdrew his palm. 5 refinements and 9 realms. 1 step away from the martial master realm. 9-fold. Hiss. As expected, Mo Lingyun is still the strongest. As expected of an apprentice who has been instructed by someone, it is really extraordinary. It's not surprising that Ling Yun has outstanding talents since he was a child. On the top of the tall building, many strong men breathed a sigh of relief, including Mo Lingyun's elder, Mo Shangtu, the master of the number 1 martial hall in Donghai City. Also, they all heaved a sigh of relief when they bet on Mo Lingyun before. In their minds, they won. The results of the competition between the 2 strongest apprentices came out. Mo Lingyun had 5 exercises and 9 exercises, with 18,000 calories of energy and blood. On the square, as well as all the Donghai people who watched today's test, there were also discussions. By all accounts, the test is over and the results are in. In this test, Mo Lingyun, the number 1 scholar in Donghai City, and Chen Tianxi, the number 2 candidate, are the top candidates. Su Mu should be stronger than Liu Baosai, but how much he can achieve is unknown. But some people thought of Su Mu, but no one thought that Su Mu could be stronger than Chen Tianxi and Mo Lingyun. In the test hall, Chen Tianxi's face darkened when he saw the result, and then he returned to normal, and cupped his hands at Mo Lingyun. Brother Mo is still superior in skills. Brother Chen is not weak. I just broke through the 9th level first, and Brother Chen is not far away. The two were talking and laughing, and it seemed that the unhappiness that happened in the test hall had long since disappeared. While talking, the two walked side by side, and were about to leave the testing hall. At this moment, Su Mu stood up and walked onto the tester. Su Mu, who was supposed to get a lot of attention, didn't get much attention at the moment, because Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi were already in front. After seeing stronger geniuses, who cares about the weak? Just like Liu Baosai, the original 3rd place, but now no one mentions it. Su Mu didn't care, she circulated qi and blood, her palm fell, and then the display screen lit up. At the beginning, the display screen showed a number, 45,000 cards. The initial number displayed on the Su Mu test screen is 45,000 cards. And the display screen is still flashing, and the numbers are still beating rapidly. 46,000, 47,000, 48,000. In the blink of an eye, it has exceeded 50,000, but the number is still increasing. At this moment, the entire test site was silent. Everyone who was shocked by the battle between Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi just now stared at the projection on the square in disbelief. More than 50,000 qi and blood, this is too terrifying. Not only the many apprentices at the test site were stunned by the shock. It was the many strong men on the rooftop of the tall building next to them. The moment Su Mu's data came out, everyone gasped. Swish. In the next second, Dutong Chen Xuan was the first to appear above the square in a flash, staring at the projection without blinking. Immediately afterwards, Wang Yang also moved, followed by the other strong men. In the blink of an eye, all the high-level officials in Donghai City came to hover above the square. With the arrival of this group of big shots, the aura fluctuated faintly, which was shocking. Immediately afterwards, the display finally stopped flashing, and the final number, 58,000 cards. Everyone held their breath, as if demented. 50,000 qi and blood, someone has really reached it. No, to be precise, it has exceeded it. But that's not the most shocking thing. The most shocking thing is Su Mu's realm. Qi and blood tests naturally also include realm, but realm is not the most important reference data is the blood value. But the display will also show the realm. All the information displayed on the display at this moment is as follows. Su Mu, 9 refinements and 1 stage, 58,000 calories of blood. This is what shocked everyone the most. First stage, 9 refinements, 9 times of tempering. If you put aside the realm, just the number of times of tempering, and just talk about the basic blood, there is no second person in the entire Tang dynasty who is stronger than Su Mu. This is why even the governor Chen Xuan was so shocked that he could not speak. 9 times of tempering, anyway, he has never heard of it. Maybe there really is, such as the founder of the entire Detang mansion, King Detang. But those are all legendary characters. The small Donghai city, no, the small Donglai city, how could such a monster be cultivated? The scene was quiet, eerily quiet. Tens of thousands of people did not make a sound at all, because this scene was too shocking. 9 forgings. It is simply a number of times that no one can even imagine. As for the sound of the scene, I am afraid that only the sound of everyone's breathing is left. Not to mention them, even City Lord Wang Yang, who thought he knew Su Mu best, was completely dumbfounded at the moment. He knew that Su Mu would surprise him, he knew that it was a certainty that Su Mu would become the number 1 in Donghai City, but he didn't expect such a big surprise. 9 forgings, nearly 60,000 blood. This surprise has almost turned into a shock. In the next second, the governor Chen Xuan rubbed his eyes fiercely, for fear that he might be wrong. 10,058,000 calories. In the end, Chen Xuan confirmed that it was 58,000 calories. Immediately afterwards, a look of excitement appeared on his face instantly, and under ecstasy, he directly laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha, good, great, it really didn't disappoint me. As Chen Xuanhei's voice spread, everyone came back to their senses, and the discussion broke out like a tide in an instant. Monster. This is the real monster. This is what humans can achieve. It's so terrifying. Peerless monster. As the peerless genius so low-key. I also have such evildoers in Donghai City. The crowd was in an uproar, and the discussion was one after another. Everyone was shocked and excited. Even if this person is not themselves and has nothing to do with them, Su Mu is also from Donghai, and everyone is still cheering for him. Also at this time, Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi walked out together. The faces of the two were calm. They didn't pay attention to Su Mu's test results, because for them, Su Mu was no match at all, so why should they pay attention? As soon as the two of them came out, they heard discussions like a tide, what kind of geniuses, evildoers, peerless arrogance. Hearing these words, the two looked at each other, thinking they were talking about themselves, and suddenly felt a little embarrassed. The two of them clasped their fists together and clasped their hands to the surroundings. Thank you for your love. Ling Yun is ashamed. Brothers and sisters, Chen. But when the two of them were talking halfway through, they realized that something was wrong. They thanked each other with fists in their hands, but when they turned their heads, they found that no one was looking at them. While everyone around was discussing, their eyes were still looking at the projection above their heads without blinking. Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi looked up subconsciously. Su Mu, 9 refinements and 1 stage, 58,000 calories of blood. Boom. In an instant, the two of them were completely stunned on the spot as if struck by lightning. Dare to use adjectives such as genius and evildoer, it doesn't refer to the two of them at all. The faces of the two of them turned red instantly, then turned from red to blue, and finally turned completely black. Mo Lingyun lowered his head and almost fell to the ground without seeing darkness. And Chen Tianxi's eyes widened, and he collapsed on the spot. I thought that when I came out of the test hall, everyone was complimenting me. I thought that Su Mu was not worth mentioning at all, and he was not qualified to be compared with them at all. Result. Until now, the two of them realized that the clown was themselves. Collapse, despair, and unrequited love are not enough to describe the mood of the two of them at the moment. At this moment, Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi can't wait to find a crack in the ground and get down. At this moment, Su Mu walked out of the testing hall. Swish. In an instant, a group of apprentices surrounded him. Brother Su, leave a contact information. Su Mu, I knew you were good. Brother Su, which room do you live in? Are you free tonight? Do you know each other? The enthusiasm of these apprentices directly overwhelmed Su Mu, who just came out. With great difficulty, Su Mu got out of the crowd with the assistance of Zhao Gang, Lu Fengfei and others, and saw Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi stunned on the spot like bereaved dogs. Su Mu patted the shoulders of both of them thousands of times, then turned and left. Whoa! In the next second, Mo Lingyun burst into tears. Chen Tianxi also had red eyes, and raised his head to Chen Xuan floating in the sky. Uncle, my nephew is embarrassing for you. Okay, it's all gone. Chen Xuan ignored his nephew, but spoke out. Su Mu left, and the first round of qi and blood tests finally came to an end. But the result was beyond everyone's expectations. But the turmoil of the blood test has not passed. Su Mu, the title of the #1 scholar in Donghai City, has been confirmed. Even without the last 2 rounds of strength and prowess testing. Because Su Mu's blood value is a desperate number, 58,000 calories. With such a high base qi and blood, how could the strength be low? Besides combat power, even if he only practiced yellow-level combat skills, the multiplier would be enough to make people despair. Therefore, the #1 scholar has become Su Mu's bag. Immediately afterwards, the Donghai hotel where Su Mu stayed was getting more and more people. Naturally, Su Mu didn't have time to receive these. He went back to the room directly, and Wang Yang came forward to receive the visitors. Wang Yang's mouth was crooked with a smile, and he was soft when he received gifts, and packed them in boxes when he received invitations. But even if you can't see Su Mu, it still can't stop the enthusiasm of everyone. In the end, Commander Wang showed up and drove everyone away on the grounds that he would not interfere with Su Mu's next test. I thought this would stop it, but then, almost all the high-level officials of Donghai City came, and they all brought their own juniors. The Mo family and the Lu family are the leaders, and so are the other families. The reason was still the one that Commander Wang couldn't refuse, and that was to apologize to Su Mu. Lu Baosai, accompanied by his father Lu Fugi, came to apologize to Su Mu in person. Mo Lingyun, led by his father, came to apologize to Su Mu, even though he didn't need to apologize to Su Mu. But everyone knows that from then on, Su Mu is a fish jumping over the dragon's gate. Because Su Mu's next test is over, he doesn't even need to participate in the palace test. he only needs to participate in the training test organized by Datang Wufu alone. 50,000 calories of energy and blood have reached the standard of the great Tang Wufu. The martial palace of the Tang dynasty recruits less than 1,000 people every year, and only peerless evildoers cannot enter. And in the future, even the most rubbish ones who come out of the Great Tang martial palace will be members of one party and the pillars of the Great Tang mansion. Therefore, it is normal for these people to come to make friends. In the end, unable to withstand the enthusiasm of these Donghai city executives, Wang Yang could only drag Su Mu out, resolve the grievances with Liu Baosai on the spot, and communicated with Mo Lingyun, Chen Tianxi and other Donghai city talents. Then, the number 1 Martial Hall of Donghai City announced that Zhao Gang and Zhang Jie, who had just launched online, were exceptionally admitted. Obviously, this is to show goodwill to Su Mu. Because Su Mu is famous, his situation has long been inquired into by everyone. From Donglai City, orphan, parents died early. It is unrealistic to win over his family, so we can only start from Donglai City. So everyone in Donglai City became a favorite. Zhao Gang and Zhang Jie were admitted to the first martial arts hall. Even Li Yiren, who was not online, was unexpectedly admitted by a martial arts hall. Then there was Lu Fengfei. Her grades were not bad, she was able to go to the martial arts pavilion. There is no martial arts pavilion in Donghai City, but she has also become the object of many people's pursuit. Of course it is to make friends with Su Mu. Even Wang Yang, the city lord, was regarded as a guest of honor by the high-level officials who had never looked at him directly. For a while, Donghai City was extremely lively, all because of one person, Su Mu. Peerless Tianzhao, a quasi-student of the Tang Wufu, all kinds of titles have been placed on Su Mu's head. And Su Mu's information was also uncovered, and everyone wondered that a little guy who was not obvious in the past suddenly rose up, so naturally they had various associations. Ever since, the speculations of the disciples of the king of the Tang dynasty spread again. Have you heard? Su Mu is really a disciple of King Tang. Let me just say, Su Mu was still a non-warrior before, and he didn't even finish tempering the skin once, so why did he rise up all of a sudden? That makes sense, disciple of the great Tang king. If he is not evil enough, the great Tang king will not like it either. It is said that the king of the Tang dynasty has been in the cave for many years, but occasionally he would come back for a walk. I didn't expect to come to Donglai City. Various legends about Su Mu are getting stronger and stronger, and various versions have come out. And Su Mu didn't care at all. In Donghai Hotel, Su Mu's room, everyone from Donglai City gathered here. Su Mu was in the middle, and the city lord Wang Yangmin counted the harvest proudly. This time, he received the gift softly, which he did not expect at all. The total value is almost hundreds of millions. After counting, Wang Yang stretched his waist, and said very embarrassingly. But then, he pouted again. It's just that the bet one has not been cashed. On the roof of the building before, under the organization of the governor Chen Xuan, he bet on Su Mu. A total of 32 strong players from all parties participated in the betting, and they bet a total of 32 bottles of quenching body pills. Body tempering pill, specially used in the warrior realm, for tempering the body. Each body quenching pill is worth 10 million, and a bottle of 10 pills is worth as much as 100 million. In the end, only Wang Yang and the governor Chen Xuan bet on Su Mu. According to the previous agreement, the two of them split all the bets equally. Then he should get 16 bottles, with a total value of 1.6 billion. With so much money, Wang Yang is extremely jealous. It's a pity that he didn't dare to go to find Dutong to settle the score. Hearing that Wang Yang bet on himself, Su Mu rolled her eyes directly. Let's say it first, when the time comes, I will share half of the body tempering pill. You think beautifully. Wang Yang stared. Really? Then I will help you spread the word. Guess how effective a word I say now is. Su Mu frowned. Wang Yang's face was filled with black lines. I'm your city lord. Don't talk about that, you still owe me money, you can't lose a penny, and the money also belongs to me. The old and the young were fighting for a little money, but this was the normal state of Donglai City. Lu Fengfei and the others around were not surprised, but had smiles all over their faces. After making a noise for a while, Wang Yang became serious. Tomorrow, the test of strength is divided into basic strength and combat power. Now you have become the #1 person in the East China Sea, but you still have to participate in the test. Su Mu nodded. Don't worry, what a big deal. Before I said I would bring you to meet someone, and all the invitations have been sent up. Don't worry, I will find a way to get you about the exercises. Wang Yang continued. Even if this road doesn't work, I can still go to Dutong, but if I go to Dutong, I'm afraid I won't have the skills given by this person. Wang Yang didn't say who the person he was talking about, and Su Mu didn't bother to ask. Then, Wang Yang explained the precautions for tomorrow's test, and bought an alloy spear for Su Mu. Soon, Wang Yang led the crowd away, not to disturb Su Mu anymore, let him rest well. So, Su Mu finally got a rare quiet time that night and was able to take a good rest. He didn't need to practice or comprehend combat skills this night, it was really a rare leisure time. Except for Lu Fengfei, who came to talk to Su Mu late at night in a silky nightgown to chat about life, no one else bothered him. This is the benefit of fame. The next morning, as soon as Su Mu appeared on the test square, he immediately became the focus of everyone's attention. Many Tianzhao came forward to chat, and a group of girls with good looks and figure stepped forward to make friends. Because of the qi and blood test on the first day, many people were eliminated on the spot, and the number of people tested on the second day was hundreds less, but there were still more than 9,000 people. Today's strength test still uses instruments, and the grouping remains unchanged. Soon, the test began, and everyone started the test in an orderly manner. The group of Su Mu, who was the finale test, also readjusted the ranking. Su Mu is No. 1, Mo Lingyun is No. 2, Chen Tianxi is No. 3, Lu Baosai is No. 4. Compared with yesterday, the atmosphere in the group is much more harmonious. Even if Su Mu is not very good at communication, it doesn't matter, others are very polite to chat with Su Mu, trying to make him feel comfortable. Today's strength test can be said to have no suspense, because the first place is definitely Su Mu's. His basic blood value was hopelessly high, even Mo Lingyun and Chen Tianxi couldn't have the slightest hope of surpassing Su Mu. Brother Su, can you get to the bottom of it? Is your combat power over 500,000? While waiting, Lu Baosai, who had been with Su Mu yesterday, completely became an admirer of Su Mu, and asked after Su Mu. Su Mu smiled and nodded. Seeing this, the eyes of a group of people lit up. Lu Baosai struck while the iron was hot. What about the 1 million? Before Su Mu could speak, Mo Lingyun frowned. Bao Kai, it's almost done, don't ask the bottom line, you'll find out later. Lu Baosai smiled awkwardly, and cupped his hands at Su Mu. Brother Su, I'm sorry, I was too impatient. Su Mu didn't care anymore. Not only Lu Baosai, but almost everyone was curious about how high Su Mu's combat power was. This is the only suspense in today's test. Soon, it was finally the turn of Su Mu's first group to test. In order to know the final result faster, all the geniuses who took the test in the previous test had 3 chances to test, but they all unanimously chose to test only once. Test twice more, maybe the final result can be improved, but not too much. But now, everyone is eager to know Su Mu's combat power. So, before Su Mu came back to his senses, the first few people had almost finished the test. Lu Baosai, with a basic strength of 13,000 kilograms, has cultivated mysterious level combat skills, increased tenfold, and has a combat power of 140,000 kilograms. Chen Tianxi, with a basic strength of 16,000 kilograms, has cultivated mysterious level combat skills, increased by 12 times, and has a combat power of 210,000 kilograms. Mo Lingyun, with a basic strength of 18,000 kilograms, has cultivated mysterious level combat skills, increased by 15 times, and has a combat power of 290,000 kilograms. These are the 3 most powerful fighters in Donghai City except Su Mu. Few of the others have practiced mysterious level combat skills. On the one hand, the mysterious level combat skills themselves are very valuable, and on the other hand, the difficulty of cultivation is also very high. Then, all eyes were on Su Mu. Su Mu was not shy either, and quickly stepped onto the test bench. At this moment, even if there were still some people in the other large groups who hadn't finished the test, they all chose to pause. Even the projection over the test square is only the image of the test hall where Su Mu is. At this moment, Su Mu was truly the focus of attention. The governor, Chen Xuan, appeared again, and came directly to the sky above the square, watching Su Mu test with burning eyes. At this moment, Su Mu's body was surging with energy and blood, and a red light glowed slightly above her fist. The first thing to test is basic strength, and combat skills must not be used. In the next second, Su Mu moved, punched out, and hit the tester in front of him directly. When a deafening sound spread, and everyone held their breath in an instant, their eyes widened and they didn't even dare to blink, for fear of missing the scene in front of them. Immediately afterwards, under the attention of everyone, the display flickered violently, and finally a number was frozen, 61,000 kilograms. This is the basic strength of Su Mu, which is as high as more than 60,000 kilograms. The tens of thousands of people present, even though they had predicted it in their hearts, were still shocked when they actually saw this number. Many apprentices swallowed hard, looking at this number so far away from them, nothing but envy. And many high-level officials in Donghai City, including Chen Xuan, are also struggling to resist the urge to complain at this moment. Monstrous doesn't seem to be enough to describe Su Mu. He's a warrior at the first stage, with a base power of 60,000, which is even comparable to the basic strength of the martial artist. And when everyone was still immersed in the strength of Su Mu's foundation, Su Mu had already circulated the blood in his body, and then stretched out a finger to point out. This pointed out that a large amount of qi and blood gathered at the fingertips, and the surrounding air was stirred. Combat technique. Sky-breaking shot. It was Wang Yang's mysterious high-grade combat skill, sky-breaking shot, that Su Mu had given to Su Mu. Seeing Su Mu point it out, Wang Yang took a breath and exclaimed, "Impossible." Just looking at this posture made him feel ashamed. The combat skills he gave to Su Mu, but Su Mu only displayed them in just 2 days, and they are even stronger than him. And he has already achieved great success. That is to say, what Su Mu points out is at least consummation. And the scariest thing is, Su Mu refers to the gun. Could it be a transformation environment? At the same time as Wang Yang murmured, Su Mu's finger had fallen. The strange thing is that the test instrument didn't make the scary sound like the previous test of basic strength, but it was extremely quiet and eerie. But in the next second, the display flickered violently, and a number that completely shocked everyone appeared. 1.28 million kilograms. Hiss. There was a sound of breathing in. A mere martial artist in the first stage, with a combat power exceeding 1 million, there is really someone who can do it. Chen Xuan previously demanded a combat power of 1 million, but there is no limit to the realm, even if the opponent is a martial artist. But now, Su Mu is only a warrior in the first stage, but he has millions of combat power. A combat power of 1 million is really the strength of a martial artist. Although it is not the strongest among martial arts masters, this is also a genuine martial arts combat power. The first level of warriors, with the combat power of warriors, how terrifying. This fool is really a monster. Wang Yang complained directly, he really couldn't help it. It's really a legendary realm. Combat skills cultivated to the realm of transformation, this talent, even monsters can't do it, it's a monster. The most important thing is that in 2 days, the combat skills went from comprehension to transformation. Chen Xuan, the commander-in-chief above the sky, also had eyes flickering. He didn't know that Su Mu had only practiced this sky-shattering shot for 2 days. But that didn't stop him from being shocked. Any martial artist who can cultivate his combat skills to the realm of transformation is a peerless generation. He is the strongest person on the scene. With such a vicious vision, he can deduce a lot of things without any other information. The basic strength is 61,000 kilograms, and the combat power is 1.28 million, which is a 20-fold increase in combat skills. Naturally, he also knew the combat skills Su Mu performed. They were mysterious-level combat skills widely circulated in the army, and only commander-level military warriors could practice them. Naturally, it was taught to Su Mu by Wang Yang. But he is very clear about the increase in mysterious-level combat skills. This sky-shattering shot increases the entry level 16 times, the small one 17 times, the big one 18 times, and the full one 19 times. 19 times is considered the limit increase of the sky-shattering one-shot combat skill, but Su Mu has achieved 20 times. What does it mean? It means that Su Mu has entered the realm of transformation. Su Mu, meet me at the Dutong mansion later. Chen Xuan left a word and disappeared immediately. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.